to see what it's all about.
Postseason baseball from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. And we are set for game one of this best-of-5 series. Two division champions. The Detroit Tigers, winners of the American League Central. The New York Yankees, winners of the American League East. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from Yankee Stadium. Brian Anderson alongside John Smoltz and Ron Darling. Great to have you with us tonight. Our two pitchers, they're licking their chops to dive into this matchup. It's going to be a beauty because you got Justin Verlander, and of course you have CC Sabathia. John, let's start with Justin Verlander. The Tigers are on the road, but they're confident because they know no team in baseball had a better weapon on the mound than Verlander this season.
That's exactly right. And game one, so important in a best-of-5 series. But the pendulum swing is huge for either team here. And for the Tigers to make this series their advantage, they've got their ace on the mound. And what he does is he's got gears in his fastball, kind of coasts in the first 3 innings, and then he can rev it up. He's got everything you want in an ace. He led the AL in wins, ERA, and strikeouts. And in this hostile crowd in New York, he's going to come up huge for Detroit to give them the chance to win this series.
All right, well, because of the Justin Verlander factor, Ron Darling, let's talk about the Yankees, because maybe no team has as much pressure as the Yankees in this division series because their expectations aren't for a division title. They're talking about a World Series here.
Well, you know, it's funny. John talks about the pendulum. It usually swings the Yankees' way. 16 of the last 17 seasons, they made it in the postseason. 2 years ago, the World Series. That's why for CC Sabathia tonight, it's an imperative that he matches zeros with Justin Verlander. Another outstanding season with 19 wins. He was fantastic, but he limped to the finish, other than Verlander, who really raced to the finish. I think the most important thing for CC Sabathia tonight, he's got to use that knowledge. 14 postseason starts tonight, and 5-1 as a Yankee in the postseason.
All right, it's going to be a lot of fun. Verlander and Sabathia, two heavyweights going at it on a grand stage here at Yankee Stadium. We're all set for baseball. Game one of this best-of-5 series. We are on our way from Yankee Stadium when we come back. Stay with us.
The League Division Series on TBS is brought to you by Nissan. Innovation for today, innovation for tomorrow, innovation for all. By DirecTV. Switch now and get a whole home DVR upgrade for free. Call 1-800-DirecTV. By Bank of America, the official bank of Major League Baseball. And by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun.
Well, looks like a nice night for baseball right now. There is some rain in the forecast for later, but right now it's 70 degrees. Feels a little bit like a late summer ball game here at Yankee Stadium, as a matter of fact. And CC Sabathia leading the Yankees out onto the field. And let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups, brought to you by Autotrader.com. The Detroit Tigers in their rebuilt lineup. They can bash with the best of them. Top three, you've got Austin Jackson, former Yankee farmhand, Maglio Ordonez in the 2-hole with Delman Young in left field. Middle of the order is Miguel Cabrera, an MVP candidate. Victor Martinez is the designated hitter. Alex Avila, the rookie catcher. And the bottom three, Ryan Rayburn at second base. Johnny Peralta, the shortstop, a power-hitting shortstop. And Brandon Inge gets the start at third base tonight for Jim Leland's Detroit Tigers. And John CC Sabathia on the mound. He is the answer to the Tigers' Justin Verlander.
Absolutely. And what CC has that Verlander doesn't is a lot of postseason experience where he can learn that adrenaline rush that comes in the first inning that's so difficult for a pitcher who wants to do well. And for CC, he's going to have to go against those Tigers 3 through 6 spots, 20 for 83 with 4 home runs against them. Can he control that run, that middle of that lineup, and give this home crowd the momentum they need?
Well, the advanced scouting for CC Sabathia, you see his strikeouts by pitch this year. And interesting, Ron, that it is the slider that is his best strikeout pitch.
But don't let that changeup fool you. Only 12%. He gets a lot of ground balls on that pitch.
One sets up the other. Now the Tigers back in the postseason. They had a matchup with the Yankees back in '06. They were on a fast finish this year. They won their division by 15 games in the American League Central over the Cleveland Indians. Tigers won 4 straight to close out the year, and 20 of 25. Sabathia ready to go at the first pitch of game 1 on the way. Austin Jackson, part of that Curtis Granderson trade, a big part of the Yankees organization before he was sent to Detroit. He gets the top nod in the batting order for Jim Leyland. There's no doubt that the Tigers can swing the bats, and they are a much more balanced club because of some key trades this year. Dave Dombrowski, the Tigers general manager, 2 big pickups, including Delmon Young, who is their 3-hole hitter. Just arrived in mid-August, and he's hitting 3rd in Game 1 of this postseason. Well, Sabathia starts it with a K on 3 pitches against Austin Jackson, and a good start for the big man.
Behind CC, Brett Gardner has played a Gold Glove left field with Granderson and Swisher in right. And if you look at the defense in the infield, A-Rod might be slowed a little by the injuries. Jeter, Canó, and Teixeira, of course, perennial Gold Glover at first base, and Russell Martin has had a fine season behind the plate.
There's Alex Rodriguez. A lot of questions about his knee, how healthy he would be. Joe Girardi said there is no doubt not only will he play tonight, but the rest of the series. And expects him to be at his best as Maglio Ordonez will hit for the Tigers. Jim Leyland loves to have power in the 2-hole, and Ordonez certainly brings that. Don't be fooled by the 5 home runs. Ordonez has had a resurgence at to the end of the year. Sabathia keeps pouring in the strikes.
Well, early on, Ron, he has definitely shown he's staying back. He's got a firm fastball, and I think that 5-1 record with the Yankees shows the maturity in the postseason. Had to do a lot early, stumbled out of the blocks. He's definitely ready for this type of atmosphere.
Sabathia, 19-game winner during the regular season, had an ERA of 3. Been one of the best winners in all of baseball over the last 5 years. And this big Yankee crowd looking for another strikeout. And they get one. Martin secures it at first. Back-to-back Ks to start it for CC Sabathia.
Sabathia has so many weapons. When he gets ahead of you, he can go to a lot of pitches. That little slider down and in. Nice play by Russell Martin to keep that close to get that ball to first base.
He's doing everything you want to do. In the top of the order, there's some strikeouts in the top of the order of Detroit, and if you can keep those guys off the base, that 3 through 6 isn't as potent.
Well, Sabathia has thrown 7 pitches to start this one, just 1 out of the strike zone. As Delmon Young takes a strike. Delmon Young acquired by the Tigers from the Minnesota Twins, and this is the 3rd straight year Delmon Young has had a matchup with the Yankees in the ALDS. And he's hoping to change the fortunes a little bit. He's never beaten the Yankees in the ALDS. A couple of sweeps as a member of the Twins at the hands of the Yankees. And now getting his chance as a Tiger. And Young into right field. That ball's pretty well hit. Back is Swisher at the wall, and there it goes. Delmon Young strikes first as the Tigers have a 1-0 lead on a 2-out home run by Young.
Never is a part of the field going to be more important than right field here at Yankee Stadium. You look at a fastball that he throws, and actually he just beats him in it, and he gets it to the right part of the park where the ball flies, Ron. You know this park has given up a lot of home runs. The Yankees are built for it. Early lead for the Tigers.
Sometimes, like you said, John, you drive the ball out of the ballpark. That time just late, and the wall came into play.
And now to be Miguel Cabrera. Delmon Young. It is very unusual to have a guy that made that kind of contribution, a guy you picked up in August, in mid-August, after the trade deadline. He was part of a deal that was in the waiver trade deadline, had to pass through all teams. Not only is he contributing, but he's hitting 3rd in this Tigers lineup, and he's been doing that since mid-August when he arrived in Detroit for Jim Leyland.
Disturbing trend for CC Sabathia. That was his 15th pitch. Any postseason start, first 15 pitches, batting average of opposition, .488.
And now Miguel Cabrera. Talk about a guy on a fast finish. Cabrera red hot in the month of September. And is back to his old form. He was the batting champion in the American League this year. A .344 batting average with 30 home runs and 105 runs batted in. And a strong MVP candidate in the American League. His greatest competition might be the guy on the mound, his teammate Justin Verlander.
Brian went into the last day, did not try to protect his average. In fact, first 2 at-bats went 0 for 2. Then got a couple of hits, though, to get that title.
And a bouncing ball to short. Derek Jeter's first chance of the postseason, and that is that. But Delmon Young with an exclamation point gets it started for the Tigers. Tigers have a 1-0 lead. Delmon Young with a first inning home run, and there is Justin Verlander. And with more on the Verlander magical regular season, we send it down to Sports Illustrated's Tom Verducci. Tom?
That's right. It's been a historical season for Verlander, winning the pitching triple crown, wins, earned run average, and strikeouts. But he wants more to get to the World Series. Now that combination, triple crown and getting to the World Series, is so rare that it's been done by only one pitcher since World War II. And tonight, Justin takes the first step in trying to follow in the footsteps of the great Sandy Koufax.
Trying to take that great regular season success into the postseason, Justin Verlander. And both leagues, you had pitching triple crown winners, Verlander and Clayton Kershaw of the Dodgers, as Derek Jeter leads off for Joe Girardi's Yankees. Jeter almost climbed that batting average to 300. Had a great run in the final couple of months of the season.
Jeter 9 for 25 off of Verlander. And to get this thing started, it's always interesting in games like this when you're facing a great pitcher, Ron, is who's going to buckle first? Does the hitter try to see if he's got his good stuff going, or do you get on attack right away? One of the things we may not talk about a lot today, and it's a stat that I think is relevant, is shutdown innings. There may not be a lot of them, but in this shutdown inning, Verlander is 2.37 ERA in shutdown innings. That's a pretty good job. When your team gives you a run, you got to put that zero back on and not give them any momentum, especially on the road.
Alex Avila's battery mate for the no-hitter this year against the Blue Jays, and Verlander, a foul tip from Jeter. Verlander talked about his cruising speed and the epiphany he had prior to that no-hitter. I think everybody's anxious to see Verlander and his velocity in the first inning. He's been a guy in the past that would come out 96, 97, even 98 miles per hour, and that's where he was on opening day against the Yankees. And there's a swing and a miss. Avila blocks, got to hurry to throw to first. Not in time, unable to secure the strikeout, as Jeter beats it down the line on a wild pitch.
Well, the catch-22 when you're catching Justin Verlander is that his slider is so nasty, hard to keep it in front. What I found interesting, though, Avila did not put a lot on that throw. He could have stood up and really gunned that down to first base, giving himself a better chance, as Jeter hustles down first base and just beats it.
So Jeter is aboard for Curtis Granderson. Speaking of MVP candidates throughout the course of the regular season, Granderson had a monster year. And anytime there is a runner at first, it's always important to pay attention to Verlander. He throws a big fastball not just to the plate, but also to first base, and has been known to throw a few away on occasion.
Little interesting note here on the first hitters of each club. Austin Jackson struck out on a ball that got away from Martin. He walked back to the dugout. Derek Jeter strikes out on a ball that gets away from Avila. He hustles to first base and gets on the bag.
We talked about the 3 through 6 lineup for the Tigers. 2 through 5 for the Yankees. Over 50% of their runs have been driven in by those spots. 12 for 67, 3 home runs combined in the lineup. That's murderous row that he has to go through.
Granderson lays off the changeup from Verlander. And falling behind Granderson 3-0. Former Tiger Curtis Granderson had a 30-homer season in Detroit. Career high this year, 41 home runs for the Yankees. Drove in 119. And that one's in there.
On the 3-1 count, that's the only flaw in a season that's been dominated by everything. 3-1 count, the hitters are hitting 429. Now, granted, it's not a lot of those that happen, but everything else is so deadly. When he gets 2 strikes, 3-2, if he works it to 3-2, it's 115. Both these pitchers you want to try to avoid from getting in the 0-2, 1-2 counts. It's obvious that these guys have unbelievable stuff. You want to try to take advantage of the 2-0, 3-1s. See how Justin deals with this 3-1 pitch.
And a swing and a miss. Now the Tigers have a good catcher, good catch and throw man behind the plate in Avila. Tough guy to run on. See how aggressive the Yankees want to be on the base pass. Jeter takes off, and it's ball 4. Granderson draws the walk. 2 on to start the bottom of the first for the Yankees. So Jeter and Granderson at the top. The rest of the Yankees batting order. Robinson, Canó at second base. In the middle, it's Alex Rodriguez. Mark Teixeira now hitting 5th with Nick Swisher in right field hitting 6th. The bottom 3, Jorge Posada, the designated hitter. Russell Martin will catch, and Brett Gardner with 49 steals at the bottom of this Yankee batting order. And it was a late switch in the season to the 3-hole for Robinson Canó, and he steps in now with 2 on and nobody out here in the first inning.
Previous 2 starts, although be it early, he did have 8 walks in 12 innings against the Yankees, uncharacteristic. And in this situation, in a regular season, wouldn't be as big a deal. In the postseason, it's a huge rally. You got your arguably one of your best hitters at the plate. You're down 1-0. You're trying to get your team right back on the board.
In the beginning of the season, Canó was the 5th place hitter. They have put him in the 3rd hole because he's become their best hitter, their best contact hitter, and they put a cocoon of these great players around him to protect him.
Second in the American League in RBIs, behind only Curtis Granderson, and only missed it by 1 from his teammate. And a bouncer to first. This is Cabrera, and Verlander is behind him. Cabrera taking the sure out at first base. The first out for Justin Verlander. The Yankees advance to 2nd and 3rd.
We talk about a little nerves on the pitcher's part. Sometimes there's nerves in the infield also. This is a play that you definitely have to go to second base to keep the double play in order, even if you don't turn it. Doesn't get a handle on it, a little nervousness with the adjustment, and finally just able to get 1 out. That's a play that in the regular season, 99 times out of 100, he gets the force out at second.
Yeah, and the good news for Detroit, though, you do have a strikeout pitcher on the mound that can help you out in that situation. The worst thing that you could have done is thrown it away if you didn't have the handle. Get that out. Outs are big in the postseason. Stay away from the big inning.
Now it's Alex Rodriguez with runners at 2nd and 3rd and 1 away. Tigers got a Delman Young home run in the top of the first, and the Yankees looking to answer here. Just 99 games for Alex Rodriguez this season. Had a knee injury that required surgery. And a bouncer to 3rd. Inge going to first. The Yankees score on a ground out by Alex Rodriguez. Evens it up at 1. Looks like Inge took that one in the breadbasket a little bit. Granderson also advances.
There's a play that say you go on contact. Does anyone do it better than Jeter? Looks back over his shoulder. You saw Inge catch that on his breadbasket. Didn't have a chance to have a shot at home. Took the out, as John said, outs are important. And 1 run scores to tie it up for the Yanks.
Now you wonder if Inge would have come to the plate. Looked like he wanted to, as that ball rolled down his thigh. So 2 gone. Big shift on for Mark Teixeira as the Yankees have quickly evened it up here in the bottom of the first inning.
If this were a boxing match, each guy got their jabs in the first inning, feeling each other out. You certainly feel good if you're Detroit and you can get out of this with only 1 run and just run again. But those 2 plays right there, Ron, are plays that historically in the regular season you're taking that chance of making and cutting the guy down at home.
Now 2 throws that were not made by the Tigers, Cabrera and Inge. And Rodriguez with a postseason RBI. 0-2 to Teixeira. Ball and 2 strikes. Teixeira homered against Verlander on opening day. Verlander gave him a steady diet of high fastballs in that first matchup way back in March.
A little bit of rain's fallen early already. Hopefully nothing that's going to be heavy enough to affect the game.
And yes, it has rained every day this summer in the Northeast.
2-2 to Teixeira. And back to the high fastball, and he's dialing it up 98 miles an hour in the last 2 fastballs. Verlander realized this year that if he comfortably stayed at 94, 95, he could get more contact, go deeper in ball games. Another high fastball.
There you go right there, Brian, just to make your point. 3-2 pitch, 93, 94, all this entire first inning. 98 on that ball just to get it past Teixeira.
And the rain starting to come down a little harder now. Got a runner at third, Granderson. And a full count pitch, and Teixeira whistles one foul into the seats. It's a relentless lineup, the Yankees. Both of these teams can bash. The Tigers and the Yankees, the most prolific offenses in the American League, along with the Texas Rangers, who led the league in hitting. Rangers in the postseason. Inside, almost hit him. Ball 4. Teixeira draws the walk. Verlander ahead of him, 0-2, and lets him get away. First and third for Verlander. As we send it down to Tom Verducci.
Spoke with Dan Cunningham, the groundskeeper for the New York Yankees, and the forecast was for intermittent rain almost through the game that they could play through. But I can tell you guys right now, it's coming down pretty hard, a little more strong than intermittent.
Now, Jerry Davis is the crew chief of this 6-man umpiring crew. He's out at second base, and he's keeping a close eye on the heavens up above. Meanwhile, Verlander with runners at the corners and Nick Swisher coming up. Bouncing ball to second. Rayburn makes a play. The inning ends. Both heavyweights giving up runs in the first. We go to the second. Tigers coming up. This American League Division Series coverage on TBS is brought to you in HD by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. And the rain continues to fall here at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, all tied at 1. So much talk about these 2 great starters, each giving up runs in the first inning. CC Sabathia giving up a home run to Delman Young. Alex Rodriguez with an RBI ground out against Verlander. Victor Martinez leads off for the Tigers here in the second inning. At .330 this year. Coming to the Tigers from the Boston Red Sox. Sabathia on the corner, quickly 0-2 on Martinez.
Martinez sure has liked the new stadium versus the old stadium. He's got 9 home runs here in the new stadium. he's like most hitters. Knows the ball will go here.
On the ground, Alex Rodriguez with a nice play, spins, and a bad throw, but Teixeira, the Gold Glover, is there for him on the other end. Martinez retired.
Martinez had to get out of the way of that throw, and we had his toe drilled the other day, and that didn't look too good when you see the replay here. And he's not a super fast guy anyways, but he's making this jaunt down here, and then watch this last get out of the way. And you got to plan on that toe. That is not fun. You can see him wince a little bit.
Well, good news is that Alex Rodriguez showed a lot of range on that ground ball, but the last month or so, and maybe it's because of the injuries, he's had a lot of throws that have not been on the bag.
Well, certainly picked up a wet baseball there as the rain continues to fall, a little lighter than what we saw in the bottom of the first. As the young Alex Avila will bat. Avila now in his 3rd year overall, his 2nd full season in the major leagues, and a first-time All-Star this season. Alex Avila is the son of Al Avila, who is the Tigers' assistant general manager and vice president with the Tigers. It's got to be a thrill for Al to see his son on the big stage in the postseason. He's had a great season. 19 home runs this year in the regular year with 82 RBIs.
And Brian, an all-star this year, and we were talking to Jimmy Leland before the game, and he said, listen, I'd be lying if I told you that he was going to have this kind.
Well, a sight you never want to see, but been seeing a lot of it here on the East Coast as the tarp is out, play suspended, and we are officially in a rain delay. The Tigers and the Yankees all tied at 1, both scoring first inning runs. CC Sabathia, guys, picking up his 4th strikeout, but as we watch the replay of Sabathia's last pitch, what you fear the most is to slip.
Yeah,
and watch
this is what I was talking about. The footing is so important, and it's the landing foot that you don't want sliding more than an inch. And it slides right there and throws him off balance, and you could see him hop. He did get the strikeout, but Ron, those are the parts where they start getting where it's a little dangerous.
And the games are so important to see Jerry Davis talking to Joe Girardi, explaining the situation, why he wants to make sure he keeps the field as dry as possible. But same old for the Yankees and Joe Girardi. 23 rain delays during the regular season.
Now they have had to endure a ton of weather problems this year, but now for both of these starting pitchers, for Verlander, for Sabathia, what do you do to try to stay hot, stay ready so you can come back in this game perhaps?
Well, you got to keep your arm warm, and you got to simulate an inning every 15 minutes, I would say. They've got the cages underneath where you can go in and throw. And in this case, in a regular season, I would say an hour is the max, but there's no time limit that would not allow each pitcher to go back out in the playoffs.
No time limit. You might get on a bike every 10 minutes and just simulate at least moving your legs. And the other thing you can do, especially CeCe, who spent most of the time in that bad rain, change your uniform. You don't want to sit around in a wet uniform.
Now, if the rain comes a half an hour early or thereabouts, it changes decisions for everyone. But now, and remember, CC Sabathia, according to Joe Girardi, was scheduled or is scheduled to come back in a Game 4 situation if it gets that far. And Jim Leland saying about Justin Verlander, he will not pitch again no matter what until Game 5 if it goes that far. But all that is out the window at this point, you would think.
I think you really have to, when you get in the postseason, you have a lot of ideas of how you'd like things to go over the course of your 5 or 7 games. But really, after the first pitch, everything changes, and you really react as you go.
It sure does. They're going to get when they get the tarp off, there's some work they got to do to the field. So it's going to be a minimum, you would think, of 15 or so minutes. So it's so important for these pitchers to stay warm, stay mentally focused, and when they get back out, try to reproduce what they did to start the game. But nobody ever likes having rain delays at any point in the season, yet alone in the playoffs.
All right, we check in with Tom Verducci. Tom?
Well, Dan Cunningham, the groundskeeper, and the umpiring crew went back to check the radar. Now, the good news is that behind this rain, there is a window for a while. The bad news, there's actually some heavier stuff behind that's due to come in around midnight, possibly later.
That is great news, Tom. The proverbial window. And we all know about the window as we watch it rain here in the Bronx. Now we'll take a break, then we'll head to our studios in Atlanta on the other side.
Time for a game break presented by Bank of America and a live shot from the Bronx and Yankee Stadium where the tarp is on the field and the game is on hold. Heading to the bottom of the second, a 1-all game. And take a look at our Super Doppler 7000.
What's that say,
A line of storms has come through the Bronx.
Stop the game right there.
Another band of storms coming through. And Tom Verducci told us moments ago there's a window of opportunity to play and then another band of storms headed that direction.
Great news. That's a green fly right
Sometime about midnight Eastern is what he thought. In the meantime, we have a rain delay, and we're back in our Atlanta studio. Welcome in, everybody. Matt Weiner, Dennis Eckersley, David Wells, Cal Ripken Jr., and you guys were all sitting here because you've all been in this situation before, watching the rain pour down and saying, get off the field.
Well, I was super irritated just sitting there watching because it's a pet peeve of mine. I think the pitchers have the advantage anyway in any sort of bad weather. I know I'm outnumbered.
Really?
Look at this. Look at the conditions there. Whatever happened to looking straight up and say, okay, it's raining hard enough. Let's put the tarp on the field. Hitters can't hold the bat.
What do you think? You're playing golf?
The water's coming down their eyes. They can't see real well. They almost gave 2 at-bats away. So if I'm Avila and Rayburn, I'm really irritated. Those at-bats are gone. We're competing for a pennant, and then we just gave those at-bats away.
It's all about the umpires.
And then they put the tarp on the field after the inning ends. Well, you can't pick it up. Nobody's going to keep track of where it is during the inning. If it just becomes too hard to play, just put the tarp on, and then when it's ready, take it off.
How can you say it's an advantage to the pitchers when we got to step in that little hole that's right there, and you can slip just as much as the hole that you guys dig?
You saw the shot of CC Sabathia's foot sliding.
That's exactly right. There's a slip there, but why is that slip any more important than the hitter's slip?
Because we make a lot of iron. If we slip and we hurt my arm, I'm done. Sizzle.
Sabathia slipped and threw it right down the middle.
If you have a bad bat, 0 for 1, who cares?
Slipped and threw it right down the middle. You slip with a bat in your hand, you can't swing.
Well, you slip on the bat, you fall down, you go boom.
Yes.
There you go.
You're talking about
flat foot.
the most expensive pitcher in the game, and you talk about sliding. I mean, this
Look
is
at that
not
puddle.
good. Any kind of a slide is bad, but you're talking about a 300-pound man sliding an inch.
I know, but why would you think you can play through it?
Well, that right there, Cal, we got a bump. So you got a hill that you could slide even further and really stretch your groin or pull your hammy or whatever.
I understand.
You're a grown man. You're a grown man.
But you got flat ground. We got a bump that we
Okay,
gotta
the
deal with.
conditions weren't good enough to play right then.
No one
They
right.
kept going
That's all
through
you
it.
gotta say.
That's all it is. Just put the tarp on the field and then put the stuff
I
back
agree.
on. Now they put the tarp on the field in between innings. They got to come back and fix
My
it.
guess is
I don't get it.
My guess is the crew is trying to balance the need to get off the field with the idea that the rain's going to go away, according to the forecast, any moment.
Well, that's a big if, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is a big if.
We got to hold the bat. You got to throw the ball. You got to plant either way. When you can't do that thing, stop it, and then start again when you can.
Now,
So
this
you're
is the
saying they're
story.
half inning too late.
This is the story of 2011. This stuff has been going on all year. It's irritating. I'm sure the fans are irritated. And
Not rain, right? The rain's
No,
not
the
here.
rain stuff.
Well, you want
hate rain.
you want a fair chance to compete, right? You want a
Yes.
fair chance to
Rain
throw.
again.
Injuries are a part of it. That'd be the worst thing that could happen. You want a fair chance to compete. I didn't think that was right.
Level playing field.
We'll get back to the Bronx when they get back to baseball. And coming up next, Cal's conversation with Derek Jeter.
We talk about rain delays.
Human rain delay.
Saturday night, Yankee Stadium, and we open up a window, and hopefully there is a window because it is take 2. Still trying to get game 1 in the postseason here on TBS. It is the American League Division Series. And yes, still game 1 in progress. The Detroit Tigers, the New York Yankees. And let's get you caught up here. Last night, game started on time. It was Delman Young with a home run off CC Sabathia. A 2-out home run. The Tigers took the early lead in the bottom of the first. Derek Jeter striking out against Verlander, but he's safe on the wild pitch. Alex Rodriguez with a ground ball that plates Jeter. A-Rod ties it up with an RBI ground out. CC Sabathia, 3-up, 3-down second inning. The rains came. It was eventually suspended at 9:07, and we are still here. And yes, we are in the bottom of the second inning. Not sure we've ever done a broadcast open in the middle of the second inning, but here we are. Brian Anderson along with John Smoltz and Ron Darling. Very unusual circumstances here tonight. Certainly a first for the three of us. Now in the regular season, a postponement would have occurred and a restart. Now, it doesn't affect the Yankees at all, but as far as game planning, Ron, let's talk about the Tigers, because for Jim Leland, instead of facing a left-handed CC Sabathia, he has a right-handed Ivan Nova to deal with.
Well, they might have had the advantage last night with their all-world pitcher, Justin Verlander, but they do have a disadvantage tonight. They had their right-handed lineup in there, of course, that included guys like Ordonez, so you're not going to see Dirks's or Kelly's power. Also, Ryan Rayburn, Santiago would probably be playing there. He hit over 400 against the Yankees, and Brandon Inch, of course. Wilson Betterman came over and played a great third base and hit 300 against right-handed pitching.
And now this was a rule change based on the 2008 World Series Game 5, so this is an official rule change. And John Smoltz, it means tonight, Ivan Nova, Doug Fister, Game 2 starters are going to be relievers officially in Game 1.
They are, but they're going to have plenty of time to warm up. The only difference is Fister's going to start on the road first because they're in the bottom of the second. But they've got two hot pitchers going for him. And Doug Fister, since he's been with the Detroit Tigers, look what he's done. And since he has combined with Verlander, they're 14-0 since August 16th. And it's going to be those two who are going to combine to try and give them the Game 1 lead. And when you think of Nova, Nova has been just about unbeatable since June 3rd. He hasn't lost a game. And when he pitches, the Yankees score a lot of runs. So it's an interesting scenario. Both will be relievers, both trying to get the Game 1 win, though.
All right, Nova against Fister, and we're looking forward to this matchup. It'll be their first postseason appearances for both. Ivan Nova, his first time in the postseason. Doug Fister, his first try. 23.5-hour rain delay is almost over. We're set, and we're headed to the bottom of the second. Stay with us.
Now get 0% APR financing for 72 months on most 2011 Chrysler 200 sedan models.
Just about set for baseball tonight. We continue at Game 1. It's 55 degrees, much cooler than yesterday. Fourth member of our team is downstairs. Sports Illustrated's Tom Verducci with more on this very unusual circumstance.
That's right. You mentioned the 2008 World Series Game 5. In January after that, MLB put in a rule that these games should be continued and not wiped out and replayed in entirety. So we get a sort of bizarro baseball version where the visiting team takes the field to a chorus of boos. And one more note, the virtual leadoff batter is Jorge Posada, who has started more than 1,600 games in his career, batting in every spot in the lineup except leadoff. And tonight, let's call him a virtual leadoff hitter.
Something he's always wanted to do, and he's going to get his chance in just a moment. There is Doug Fister, and he was scheduled to be the Game 2 starter. He gets the ball in relief of Justin Verlander. I was surprised to hear Justin Verlander yesterday say, well, he can just continue on with a no-hitter, I guess.
That's right. They haven't given up a hit yet, even though they've given up a run. But if you haven't seen Doug Fister pitch, mainly because he's been in Seattle, he's going to throw every pitch in every situation, in, out, up, down. This guy doesn't throw 3 pitches in a row in any area, and he's fun to watch because he can locate.
He works fast and he throws strikes. Doug Fister, 27 years of age, out of Fresno State, and has had some kind of run with the Tigers, and the first pitch is in there for a strike. And we are back in play in Game 1 of the American League Division Series. See the batting order, and this is where we are with the Yankees. Just 1 inning for the Yanks, and a couple of walks and a strikeout for Verlander. So Posada rips one to right, a base hit. Posada batting out of the 7th spot in the order. And the Yankees right away with a man on to start this bottom of the second inning.
If you would have said 2 months ago, you probably would have said he was not going to make the roster, but had a real good finish, did Jorge, and got on that roster, and also because of his past accomplishments. 98 now postseason hits, 11 home runs, and 42 RBI.
You know, there's been so much rain here in the Northeast. The Yankees have had to deal with a ton of rain, and it's interesting. Joe Girardi said if not for the rain and the doubleheaders, Posada might not be on this roster because it forced him into the starting lineup. Posada had a great run as the Yankees were close to clinching, and so he gets the start here tonight, and he delivers a base hit. And now Russell Martin the Yankees lineup would not have changed at all, according to Joe Girardi. Didn't matter whether it was going to be Verlander or Pfister, two right-handers, of course. But it certainly did for the Detroit Tigers. Umpiring crew is the same. That is Tony Randazzo behind the plate. So everything is back in place. The Yankees have endured a ton of rain, a ton of rain delays, rain outs. Over 20 games affected by weather this season. So they're used to it as much as you can be used to it. It's a six-man umpiring crew with Tony Randazzo, who is a veteran of 3 division series and 1 league championship series behind the plate. Got Eric Cooper. The crew chief is Jerry Davis. He had to make the call last night to pull the tarp. Dan Isonia third. The outfield umpires Ted Barrett and Bill Welke. No balls and 2 strikes on Russell Martin. And that one's lifted into the gap. A base hit for Martin. Posada trying to stretch it to third. He's on his way. Martin to second to throw off the mark. And the Yankees are banging away to start this one. That'll be a single and a hustle double to start this bottom of the second.
Well, the pitch he's trying to go in, and you can see right down the middle, he's able to elevate it and get it in the gap. One of the things that we talked about is control early on. The jitters may be getting a little bit to him, but you got to be able to get that ball in that area, Ron, especially in this big game.
You know, John, you talked about him changing speeds, cutting it, changing up a little bit on that fastball. 5 pitches, 5 fastballs by Pfister. That might be nerves.
Well, it had to throw him off a little bit, you would think, having to start this game. Normally, when you're in the Grays, when you're on the road, you watch the home starter on the mound first. But Pfister is right into the fire as Gardner bounces to third. Inge, and now has Posada in a rundown. And a base running blunder cost the Yankees an out. So Posada is the first out of the inning between home and third.
Well, 2 notes there. Great pitch, not so good hitting. You got the infielder in, and the only one is the third baseman. And I don't know what Jorge's thinking here, because he could have stayed put and still had second and third with a runner out.
Well, I think what Jorge was trying to do is come down the line and follow Inge, and he thought Inge would go to first, he could go home. Problem was Johnny Peralta came over and covered third base. That stopped Jorge from retreating.
Great heads-up move by the Tigers shortstop, and that put Posada into no man's land, and the Tigers get it out. And now the sinker ball specialist, Doug Pfister, is a ground ball away from perhaps getting out of this inning. But back to the top of the order, Derek Jeter, who scored the first Yankee run 23.5 hours ago after he struck out and reached on a wild pitch. And strike 1 from Pfister.
One thing you hope that doesn't become a point that you have to go back and say, that was a breaking point for our series, because hopefully they can get a hit, the Yankees that is, and make that all be forgotten. But what a clutch situation for the pitcher to be in. Second and third, nobody out, and as you said, Brian, 1 ground ball away from a double play to get out of the inning.
A balk there.
That's a balk called right away, and it takes him right out of a double play opportunity.
I was watching all 6 umpires, all 6 hands went up all at the same time. Called though by Randazzo, the home plate umpire. Watch him, there's just a little movement before he goes to the plate. A little double step with that front foot, a la Rob Nen in the day, except he did not follow through. Just that little break in the knee.
Well, it's not just that Pfister is making his postseason debut here tonight. It's also just his second appearance at Yankee Stadium of his career. As Jeter, a big swing and a miss.
The thing about Pfister that's been his strength once he's come over to the Tigers, has not allowed a multi-run inning in his last 55 2/3. He is just one of those guys that when he came over to the Tigers, he made every pitch that he had to make when he was in trouble.
Inside changeup right there. You rarely see that to a right-hander. And as we mentioned before, he will throw any pitch at any time. He's got that much confidence in all the pitches. Yet to throw his big breaking ball yet. See if what he does 0-2 to Jeter.
A lot of times Pfister will use that inside breaking ball. That one is away. Jeter doesn't chase. Good play back there by Alex Avila. Two excellent catchers in this series with Alex Avila of the Tigers and Russell Martin of the Yankees. Two of the top catchers in the American League, as a matter of fact, this season.
They're both a little stocky. They don't run that fast, but great quickness behind the plate.
Well, the Tigers have good arms in the outfield as well, all the way around. Young, Jackson, and Ordonez. Not a guarantee they'll score on a fly ball. Ball and 2 strikes on Jeter. Ties him up. He goes, and Jeter goes down on strikes. So Pfister with 2 outs now, runners at second and third. And Ronnie, let's check the Tigers defense.
Behind Pfister today in the outfield, Dunman Young, Austin Jackson, Ordonez in right field. You look at their infield defense. Inge, outstanding at third base. Peralta, Rayburn struggled with 17 errors this year. Cabrera at first, and Avila behind the plate.
That's a team that committed 103 errors, about middle of the pack, like the Yankees. Middle of the pack defensively. As Pfister deals a breaking ball to Granderson for strike 1. Granderson homered against Doug Pfister earlier this season. That was on the 26th of July. Pfister was pitching for the Mariners then. And it was the first opposite field home run of the year for Granderson. He just slapped it inside the left field foul pole. Most of his power comes to the pull side, however.
You just saw his cutter. He's now thrown all 4 pitches that he'll throw in the game. Curveball, cutter, change, and fastball that tails.
Good change up there, John. You're right. Pfister just mixed it up. The problem here with the 2-1 count is Robinson Canó on deck. You would think Granderson would get a pitch to hit here.
Two balls and a strike. Second and third for the Yankees. And Granderson fouls it away. Back with a fastball. The Yankees already in this game 0 for 5 with the runners in scoring position. That was a big part of the Doug Pfister story as well down the stretch. John mentioned how good he was down the stretch. Pfister allowing just 1 hit in 20 at-bats with runners in scoring position his last 7 starts. Did not lose in that stretch.
It's always interesting when you're making your first start in a situation like this when the tension's high. You're looking for that collective breath of fresh air. To get out of this kind of jam would be huge for Doug Pfister and the Tigers. A big pitch coming up here, 3-2, but the nerves all wrapped up in your first outing sometimes takes just a little while to get comfortable.
Got a base open at first, but Canó on deck as Granderson taps one foul.
This is a guy that doesn't pay attention to too much. He doesn't look at scouting reports. He doesn't watch video. He's one of those guys that really just not bothered by much. He's going to pitch his game. He's a good athlete, 6'8" on the mound. He just gets after it.
Said he doesn't have a routine. Just comes to the ballpark and hangs out until it's time to pitch.
We'll do it again. The payoff pitch. Granderson fouls another one away. And you see that cluster there. Pfister usually around the strike zone, and when he's not, it's usually a purpose pitch outside of the strike zone to get a hitter to chase.
Granderson, though, has gotten a 2-1 fastball up in the zone, a 3-2 fastball up in the zone. Just missed both.
I would expect an off-speed cutter, curveball, changeup, something to get him off the fastball right here.
And a swing and a miss. Down he goes. Granderson strikes out. Pfister survives the bottom of the second. Well, now we officially have 2 in the books here as we head to the 3rd inning. An interesting moment here. They announced the new pitcher for the New York Yankees is Ivan Nova, making a relief appearance today.
Ivan Nova has just been what the Yankees needed. He got sent down, Ron, and he was told, make us not send you back down when you come up, and he has done that. You look at that record. But what he's done when he pitches, 24 games they score this guy 3 or more runs. Quite different than what Pfister has had to deal with this year.
And Johnny Peralta is the first batter. Out to Jeter for out number 1. CC Sabathia went 2 innings to start this game, had 4 strikeouts, and gave up the 1 hit, which was the home run to Delman Young. We had a chance to talk to CC Sabathia today. He said, I feel great. I could pitch tomorrow if need be, but that's Joe's decision, and whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. And he's ready to go, but you'll probably see him in game 3 as you see the rest of the Tigers batting order. Brandon Inge, batting out of the 9 spot, will hit. But Ron, this is where it comes up, and you mentioned this in our open. There are a couple of changes. Now, Jim Leyland didn't tip his hand as guarantees, but there are a couple of changes watching the Tigers all year that you can suspect he would have made. Inge is probably one of the guys that would not have been in the lineup against Nova.
Especially after acquiring Wilson Bettamy in the trade. He's a guy that played third base down the stretch against right-handed pitching. The problem you have, though, is once you started this lineup, you're back to the 25-man roster, not the expanded roster, and to take all these guys out wholesale leaves you with no bench late in the game. Can't do that.
2-1 to Brandon Inge. Inge had a down season this year, a miserable season. As a matter of fact, hit just 197 and only 3 home runs. It wasn't that long ago. Just 2 years ago, he had a 27 home run season. But Jim Leyland has a hunch about him in this postseason. And we'll see if it holds true as he pops it up on a windy night. And A-Rod makes a play for out number 2.
Well, behind Nova this evening, the Yankee defense, you look in the outfield, probably played a Gold Glove left field as Gardner, Granderson in center, Swisher in right field, and tons of gold in the infield with A-Rod, Jeter, Canó, and Teixeira at first, and Russell Martin, probably the unsung defensive player for the Yankees this season.
Back to the top of the order, Nova with 2 quick outs. And like Pfister making his postseason debut, here's Austin Jackson. Jackson, a strikeout victim on 3 pitches to start the game yesterday. Sabathia looked like he had his A stuff early. As Jackson lines one to right. Right there is Nick Swisher. 1-2-3 inning. Robinson Cano will lead off, all tied at 1 in game 1. Off and running at Yankee Stadium, and let's take a look at the language of the game brought to you by Foster's. And Ron, we're talking about opponents' slugging percentage leaders against Doug Pfister. Pretty good.
You want your offensive players to be up there 600 or 700. You want your pitchers to have that number low. What that says is that in that 8-1 record in the second half, he does not allow doubles, triples, or home runs.
A lot of that work done with the Seattle Mariners to start the year, and he and Verlander on that list, and it is Pfister who is in relief of Verlander here tonight. Robinson Cano leads off for the Yankees, bottom of the 3rd inning. Cano had a ground out against Justin Verlander in the 1st inning last night. Monster season for Cano. 28 home runs, 118 RBIs, and playing a demanding position at second base. He continues to be the class at second base in all of baseball. Not only a Gold Glove type performer, but also the Silver Slugger award winner last year, given to the best hitter at that position. And he's got a good beat for another one here this season.
Watching Doug Pfister, I kind of get a chuckle because I was the same way. I don't know about you, Ron, but 3 minutes in between inning, he races out there, he's ready to go. Next thing you know, he's got to wait about 45 seconds to pitch. And you get through those jitters, you got to time that, and you got to make sure you're not too early.
By the way, John, that's our fault.
Yeah, that is our fault.
1-2 to Cano, back inside. Cano is such a threat. It showed up during the Granderson at-bat. Granderson's had a great year, due in large part to what is behind him, and lately behind Granderson is Robinson Cano. It was a late season switch for Joe Girardi. Cano into the 3-hole. Bouncer out to Rayburn. Might have broken his bat, and there is out number 1 of the 3rd inning.
That's a product. Both these guys have late life sinkers when they throw the baseball correct, and Canó went after that pitch thinking it was in the middle, had caught it off the end of the bat. You may see a lot of that tonight if those 2 guys are throwing sinkers downhill. Their 6'8" downhill sinkers is a lot different than a 6'1" pitcher.
CC Sabathia, and when will we see him again on the mound? Will it be game 3? That's what all signs are leading to. Alex Rodriguez takes a strike, and getting that inside corner from home plate umpire Tony Randazzo. That could be big for Pfister in this game. What makes him successful is his command, and he pitches inside a lot. He has to. Back in there, and that one misses, 1-1.
Well, there's a reason Tony Randazzo is behind the plate. One of your more consistent umpires, one of the best umpires in all the leagues.
Alex Rodriguez suffering a knee injury. Had surgery on that knee. His power numbers have been down since coming back. Wondering how healthy he is. He does have the lone Yankee RBI in this game, and that was on a ground out. But Alex Rodriguez just 3 home runs in his final 153 at-bats of the regular season.
You know, Brian, it wasn't only his knee. The first game he came back after that surgery, he hurt his thumb. And that really stopped a lot of the power that you'll usually see from Alex.
Two and two. And a swing and a miss. Sinker ball from Pfister. And a strikeout. That's the 3rd strikeout for Doug Pfister, John.
Yeah, and he had a pretty good plan of attack here. You could tell early on. I'm sure the hitter could tell after a while. He's going in, he gets a call, then backs him off again. He goes back in, but doesn't get it there, but gets the strike call. Changes his eyes back away and comes right back in on a tailing fastball. And you could not get the head of the bat out when you're thinking in 2 different spots.
And a big curveball to Mark Teixeira. You go through and you recreate this ball game. You go back to the first inning yesterday. Teixeira walked, remember, to load the bases. Nick Swisher grounded out to end the inning. Verlander was in a lot of trouble, but that might be a key walk, and Pfister punches out Teixeira on 3 straight. 3 up, 3 down with a couple of strikeouts for Doug Pfister. All tied at 1. Tigers coming up in the top of the 4th inning. A reminder that MasterCard invites you to eat, drink, and be generous this fall in support of cancer research. Visit standuptocancer.org/MasterCard for more details. Brian Anderson with John Smoltz, Ron Darling, Tom Verducci. Great to have you with us tonight. And we're excited to be playing baseball here in the Bronx. Still not in the clear yet. There is rain in the forecast, but maybe we'll get the reverse result than we got yesterday. It wasn't supposed to rain last night until after the game was going to end, but that was not the case, as you well know. Ivan Nova against Maglio Ordonez. Ordonez has had a great finish to the season, swinging the bat like his old self, like the 2006 Maglio Ordonez, a former batting champion. Hit a memorable home run that sent the Tigers to the World Series in '06. He also hit a big home run that put the Yankees away in the ALDS that year. Ordonez hit .419 in the month of September. Jim Leland saying he would not pinch hit for him in this game unless they were ahead late. As a bouncer goes to short, Jeter winds it up, and there is out number 1. We check in with Matt Weiner in Atlanta. Matt?
Brian, thank you so much. Time for a game break presented by Bank of America. Right now on TNT, they're in the 6th in Texas, where the Rangers put together a 5-run inning to take over the lead. Here it's now 5-3 as they try to even up that series at 1 game apiece.
All right, Matt, thank you. And the news in that series is, when is the home team going to win a ball game in that series? Remember last year the Rangers and the Tampa Bay Rays went 5 games, and the road team won all 5 games. It was the Rangers that advanced, and the Rays winning yesterday behind the 22-year-old phenom, Matt Moore.
Early on, Ron, I've been watching the rhythm of Nova. Looks pretty good. He hasn't crossfired. Looks like there's not a whole lot of jitters. Looks like the same guy that really in the second half was virtually unbeatable.
Delman Young into right center, slicing over to Swisher for the second out.
And what happens with a long, lanky delivery is some things can go wrong if you don't have that rhythm. And it's the other team's job to get on base, get them out of the stretch, do some things to mix it up.
Sometimes a simple bunt, making the pitcher move around defensively can do that also.
You want to face this guy with 2 outs, nobody on. I know that.
Miguel Cabrera. He has had an MVP caliber season for the Tigers. He was the batting champion this season in the American League. Hit .344. 30 homers, 105 runs batted in for Cabrera.
You can't say this about most players. He's been able to hit from the second he got to the major leagues. Kind of like a hitting prodigy.
Well, as hard as it is to pitch against him, it's hard to defend him. He sprays the ball everywhere. He hit it down the right field line, pull it, hits with power to all parts of the field, and you just got to do what he's doing. Mix up your pitches, trying to not get in hittable counts because he's got so much power.
There's so much talk about the Yankees and how good they are in their home ballpark, their offense, because of the short porch, especially in right field. But this is a ballpark tailor-made for the Detroit Tigers. They have big opposite field power from their right-handed hitters. Guys like Ordonez and Cabrera and Delman Young, which we saw last night. 2-2 to Cabrera. Got him. Ivan Nova, an answer for Pfister, a breaking ball in a 1-2-3 inning for Nova. TBS October 18th. Attention sports geeks. TBS just got a whole lot smarter. Don't miss the Big Bang Theory, all new on TBS Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night starting October 18th. All tied at 1. Game 1 of the American League Division Series. Yankees, Tigers. And these two pitchers who are in relief, these Game 2 starters, forced into action in Game 1, pitching well. Pfister back out there. Pfister coming off a 3-up, 3-down third with a couple of strikeouts and has already racked up 4 Ks in his 2 innings. Nick Swisher made the final out against Justin Verlander last night. It was a 25-pitch inning for Verlander. So from here on out, it'll be the second time through the batting order for Doug Pfister as Posada is on deck. Yankees threatened quickly against Pfister with back-to-back hits from Posada and Martin, but he managed to pitch out of it. A bit of a base running blunder by Jorge Posada helped him out, and then a couple of strikeouts. Well, you can tell that Nick Swisher taking his time, trying to slow down the pace of Doug Pfister, because he's a guy who is like a hurry-up offense in baseball. He's ready to get it and ready to fire.
He's like Warren Zevon's excitable boy. He can't wait to get in that batter's box and swing the bat. And he's usually a very patient hitter.
Bouncing ball to Cabrera. Pfister covers. And there is out number 1. Now, moments ago, we spent a little time with Tigers manager Jim Leyland. Well, Jim, we were all looking forward to Verlander and Sabathia, but we might have that tonight in Pfister and Nova. What have you seen from your young pitcher tonight?
Well, we got in a little bit of trouble early there, but he came out of it. That was a huge inning for us to get out of that with nothing. Remarkable, really. So he looks like he's settled in. He's pitching well.
I know Delman Young hit his home run 24 hours ago, but he's been great down the stretch for you guys.
No question about it. Great addition. Lengthens out our lineup a little bit. We're very pleased with him.
And we appreciate Jim Leyland, his thoughts from inside the dugout. And Delman Young has been a great addition to the Tigers, coming over in a trade with the Minnesota Twins in mid-August. As Posada takes a strike from Pfister. Posada started it with a single, pulled one into right field, and quickly 2 strikes, or rather 1 and 1 on Posada. The scoreboard has it at 1 and 1. I've got it 0 and 2 actually. Now a ball and 2 strikes. And 1 and 2 it is. Almost hit him. 2 balls, 2 strikes on the designated hitter, Jorge Posada.
You know, the last time that Jorge was on base, let's look at this play right here. You see the distance that he starts taking off. Now, I think he can beat him right to the bag, but he's in no man's land right here. And you see the shortstop coming in play. That right there is really a bad base running play by Jorge Posada. I'm sure he wished he could have it over. And Brandon Inge did a nice job just freezing him, then running right after him and not allowing the runner from second to get to third.
Easy for Inge to run him down. And that changed the inning. It certainly was a turning point in that second inning as Posada strikes out. Avila, nice block, secures the strikeout at first. And that is 5 punch-outs for Doug Fister already. Now, Doug Fister is a guy that does not allow many home runs. He doesn't allow many walks. The exact opposite of what the Yankees want to do. The Yankees led the league this year in walks, led all of baseball in home runs this season.
His last 8 games in the regular season, 4 walks and 52 punch-outs for Doug Fister.
All the team did was go 8-0 in that stretch.
Ungodly numbers.
Now the Tigers went 8-0. Fister went 7-0 and high and tight. He's not afraid to do that either. Fister comes under the chin of Russell Martin.
You want to fake a bunt? Then take this. Not that far in, but with Martin leaning over the plate for the bunt, had to get out of the way.
Martin doubled off Fister in the second inning. And he squares again. Fister deals him a strike. Now the Yankees had second and third, nobody out in the second inning, which was the first inning of the night. Unable to score a run.
He is just pounding the right-handed hitters in. First 3 pitches up and in for a strike, and this one again up and in. Check swing, loses his balance, does Martin. You have a phrase in baseball, sometimes pitchers are carving up a lineup so far. That's what Fister's doing.
Now 1 pitch sets up the next. Martin does not chase the breaking ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Martin. 2 gone in the Yankee 4th. And a foul ball, another one in tight. Martin, such a great addition. The Dodgers had a chance to keep him, but he was non-tendered, as they say. That was not offered a contract. He became a free agent and signed with the Yankees. And what an addition he has been to the Yankees. He's had his moments offensively, but a great presence on the defensive side as Inge gobbles it up. And a 1-2-3 inning for Doug Fister.
The League Division Series on TBS is brought to you by Ameriprise Financial. More within reach. And surf, search, and share at 4G speeds on America's largest 4G network, T-Mobile.
Packed house here at beautiful Yankee Stadium and getting their money's worth. 2 days of baseball for their Game 1 ticket. All tied at 1 as we head to the Tiger half of the 5th inning. Tigers won the American League Central this year, a runaway champion in their division. As Victor Martinez leads off, a big part of that Tiger offensive attack. third best hitting team in the American League. He had a 15-game win differential over the Cleveland Indians in the American League Central. And they were the first team to clinch as Martinez didn't hit him, I guess, went behind him. He was waiting for the pain, somehow avoided this one.
Boy, it's interesting. Russell Martin, who had a pitch thrown up and into him, called a pitch up and into Martinez, and that ball completely missed Martinez behind him. Boy, catches Tony Randazzo. Looks like right on the outer thigh, right thigh.
So it's the umpire who wears one, not the hitter. Now, Nova's one of those guys, and one of the things that impressed the Yankees earlier about him was a situation last year with Jose Bautista of the Tigers. And Bautista, there was a little back and forth between the two teams. Nova came right up and in on him, just like that against Martinez. That goes a long way with your teammates. And I think at that point, the Yankees realized they might have had something with Nova, who was plodding along in the minor leagues until last season. He went 12-3 with a 2.86 ERA in AAA last year, and has turned into a big winner. He has the most wins during the regular season of any rookie, a 16-game winner this season in the regular year. 2-2 to Martinez. Count goes full.
Well, with that delivery I was talking about, he can crossfire. I think he crossfired on that ball he's trying to throw in, and he threw it behind Victor. You'll see some 58-foot curveballs. You'll see some pitches up and away. But when he locks in on the zone and he makes his quality pitch and throws that cutter, he's been tough.
Martin gives him a couple of shakes, back to the breaking ball. And a swing and a miss. Martinez strikes out. And that is 7 straight for Nova. Moments ago, we spent a little time with Yankees manager Joe Girardi. Well, Joe, Doug Fister, you guys faced him as a member of the Mariners. What did you see from him then? What are you seeing from him tonight?
Well, it's pretty much the same thing. He's got a very good sinker, and he knows how to mix in his other pitchers, whether it's his cutter, his curveball, and his changeup. And the one thing that Doug Fister has is really good command, and that's showing up tonight.
Your young pitcher, Nova, seems to pitch better when he has a nice tempo working. Seems like he has it tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's the important thing for him is to keep the tempo going, not slow down too much, and he's done a good job so far.
And our thanks to Joe Girardi giving us some insights from the dugout. And the pitchers are turning into the story here. You thought it might be the offenses. You know, both of these teams, a lot of question marks behind their aces, Sabathia and Verlander, but so far so good for both of these pitchers, Fister and Nova.
Well, the last time Joe was talking about even Fister, last time the Yankees faced Fister, he was on a team that was losing 17 in a row.
That's right.
How things have changed.
Fister pitched a good ball game that day as well in the rain. It was back in July, late July. 7 innings, just 3 runs. There's a strike. Slow breaking ball from Nova. And Alex Avila is down in the count, a ball and 2 strikes. That is a game face as Nova deals a 1-2. Another breaking ball. Able to check his swing, says Dan Isonia.
Well, at a time, Brian, this ballpark can become like home run derby. But we've dropped 10 or 15 degrees in the last couple of days. The wind seems to be blowing in a little bit from left field. So not the same ballpark you usually see in the middle of the summer.
And 2 pitchers that are on the attack, both commanding the inside part of the plate. See what Nova has in mind. 2-2. Back in there, and Avila takes a ball. 3-2 the count. Alex Avila, outstanding year, an all-star season for Avila. It was a late push that earned him a starting nod in the all-star game over Russell Martin, the Yankees catcher.
There are games when a pitcher goes in after an inning and sits down and goes, I'm only in the 3rd inning. I bet you he goes in. I'm in the 5th already.
That's right.
and it's got to be a luxury for Joe Girardi if he can give him 6 or 7 innings and save that bullpen, because he doesn't have to do as much work, obviously, as Fister does. But the tempo that we are seeing from Nova right now has got to excite both Girardi and his pitching coach.
Not many times you get a bounce pass from CC Sabathia.
That's right. 3-2 pitch, and another breaking ball down and in, and that catches a piece of Randazzo as well. And the home plate umpire is down. That's a walk for Avila, and Randazzo is already having a rough night.
Boy, he's holding the side of his face like with the carom, the ball came up and caught him on the outside of the mask.
This is one of those 54-footers this time, and it goes right under the arm. And of course, the umpire has no way of knowing the ball's coming. That ball takes a hop and goes right under the arm.
Boy, that's like an uppercut he caught right there in the jaw. Never saw that ball coming with the big body of Martin in front of him. Saying he's okay, though. Randazzo, as tough as they get.
The umpires today with the new equipment have to pick a side to stand behind the catcher, where in the old days with the big chest protector, they were right over the middle of the catcher.
You know what's interesting is some of the umpires today use that big hockey mask, and that play right there would not have come into play. They have more protection at the bottom of the mask, a more traditional mask worn by Tony Randazzo. Down and in. Martin tries to get in front of it, and it goes right underneath his arm and right into the jaw cheek of Randazzo.
Obviously, the umpires have more umpires in a postseason game in case something were to happen and a home plate umpire cannot continue. They have the rotation already in set.
Now Steve Donahue, the athletic trainer for the Yankees, tending to Randazzo, and he is going to hang in there, the former boxer, taking a right cross.
Boy, you can see that mark it's left there, Brian. A redness there on the cheek jaw of Tony.
I think that might have been said. That's going to leave a mark at some point during that conversation. All right, so it's a walk. Avila is aboard. That's the first base runner against Ivan Nova. And here's Ryan Rayburn at a base hit to right. So it's Rayburn, and there was a lot of discussion about the lineup. Rayburn was one of the guys that would be on the bubble against Ivan Nova if Leland was allowed to change his starting lineup, and he delivers with a hit.
The thing about Rayburn, though, is he's a fine offensive player, finished up strong, good at going the other way. And John, the one thing is that even though Jim Leland plays some left-handers get right-handed pitching, Nova's susceptible a bit to right-handed hitters.
Yeah, 270 batting average against right-handers. Well, out of the stretch, Brian, is what you want to get that opposing pitcher in and just see how he handles it early on.
And now Nova will deal with a home run threat at the bottom of this Tigers order. Johnny Peralta had 21 home runs during the regular season, and another one in the dirt. Russell Martin is busy tonight behind the plate. He and Randazzo taking a beating back there.
Well, the thing you have here with Peralta, who had 21 home runs this year, like you said, Brian, is that a low ball pitcher, Nova. And Johnny Peralta is a great bad ball hitter, a guy that can hit it off his shoe tops.
First and second, one gone. A walk and a single against Nova. And Peralta whistles one to center field. That's down, a base hit. Avila stopped. Now he's going to try to score. Jeter's throw to the plate, collision, and the call is out at home.
Well, we've seen some bad base running so far. Posada for the Yankees, and for Avila here, when the hit comes off the bat, he did not read it. As soon as it got to Granderson, he had startled himself, stayed straight, and then came home.
Well, one thing he couldn't pick up right here, and you see good job by Martin, not giving him much of the plate. The one thing he couldn't see was Granderson actually backing up on that line drive.
He backed up, froze, did Mike Avila, and by the time he responded, not great speed, not awful speed, not great speed, and good job by Martin holding his ground there at the plate.
We'll take another look, and how deep Granderson was playing in the first place, then backed up. It was Jeter who had the relay. And a bang play at the plate as Avila is out.
Good communication right there by the New York Yankees. Knowing that ball coming into Jeter, 9 times out of 10 the shortstop holds onto that baseball. Good communication and made the throw to home.
Well, so now Jim Leland is going to take a shot, much like you'd see at a National League game with a pitcher coming up. Leland is going to pinch hit for Brandon Inge, and this was the matchup he said that concerned him, and he's going to put the switch hitter out there, Betemit, in the top of the 5th inning, knowing the Tigers' opportunities might not come that often. So with 2 outs, a pinch hitter, Betemit, who will stay in to play third base. 2nd and 3rd for the Tigers. Betemit has been a big part of the Tigers' run, and he is one of the 3 trades that paid off in a big way. Betemit, Pfister, and Delman Young all acquired via trade by the Tigers. And he's up in a big spot. Delman Young homered in the 1st inning of this game. Pfister is pitching well, and now Betemit will get his chance. 0-2 is the count. In the air, playable. Granderson is back. And he's got it, and Nova is out of it. Ivan Nova strands a pair. A bang play between the catchers at home plate. Still tied at 1. Celebrate America's game with Chevrolet. Upload a picture of your youth player, and you could win tickets to the 2011 postseason among hundreds of other MLB prizes. Be a part of the Chevy Centennial Celebration and enter for a chance to win at ChevyBaseball.com. Well, the Tigers going to their bench. Wilson Betemit pinch hitting. He flies out to end the inning, now at third base. And it's Brett Gardner for the Yankees to lead off the bottom of the 5th. Gardner always a threat to bunt. Betemit a much lesser defender than Brandon Inge, but Jim Leland taking a shot at offense. Well, both pitchers have now pitched out of jams. Pfister in his 1st inning, which was the 2nd inning, 2 on with nobody out, gets out of it without a run. And Nova stranding a couple of runners with 1 out.
Today's game, where pitchers can be so methodical, watching Pfister pitch is almost like he's on fast forward, moving so quick, pitching so quickly.
I noticed between innings this time around, which wasn't the case the first few times, he took his time as Gardner goes into deep right field. Back is Ordonez at the wall. He's got it. And Gardner gives him a scare but flies out. We've been wondering about the wind currents here tonight. It looked like Betemit's ball really traveled to left center. That not so much in the right center field. So Gardner is out. And 1 away for Doug Pfister and the Tigers here in the 5th.
Well, talking to Joe Girardi, he said you can't always go by the flags on top of the stadium, that it really swirls in the bowl here of Yankee Stadium. But we've seen lesser balls hit the right field that end up in the seats.
Yeah, I've seen guys put their head down and jog to first and then have to change their expression when they get in the dugout because the ball went out.
Well, that's 10 in a row retired by Pfister, back to the top of the order. And his 2nd appearance against Derek Jeter. Pfister struck out Jeter with 2 runners on in the 2nd inning and starts him with a strike, a fastball.
One thing he does, Ron, you know, you talked about his hurry up motion. He's got a real quick 2-step. Hands go quick, legs go quick, but then he gathers himself really nice to deliver the ball where he wants to. And that leverage of being as tall as he has and that gathering at the mound allows him to get away with that.
Slow roller over to Betemit, tested right away, no problem. And out number 2. And Ron, let's go back to the play at the plate. We've had 2 plays at the plate or between third and home, and this is the Granderson relay with Jeter.
Well, he hits the lead Jeter, and Jeter has the wherewithal to throw this home plate. Sometimes you have to make like a football player. When you have Martin that far out in front of the plate, 5 or 6 feet, you can see that Avila went into the slide. That's a time that you have to take out the catcher, especially in a game of this magnitude.
Martin looked like he was anticipating it, and he didn't have a real good grip on the baseball. So to your point, if he'd have hit him at all, maybe that ball comes out.
Now Avila not leaning forward for contact. Perhaps the Buster Posey effect as Granderson rips one to right. Ordonez playing very deep, will play it on a hop. And Granderson singles with 2 away as we check in with Matt Weiner in Atlanta.
All right, Brian, time for a game break presented by Bank of America. The Rangers have added 2 runs in the bottom half of the 6th. Couple of singles, eventually a 2-run single by Ian Kinsler, who hit .444 against Tampa in last year's ALDS. Currently 7-3 now on TNT. The Rangers up on Tampa in Game 2 of that series.
You know, to finish that thought, the general rule, when you're blocking the plate and they don't give you room, you're supposed to run them over. If they give you the plate and you can slide, then you can get to the plate. But right there was a perfect scenario where he didn't have the plate. Didn't look like he had it at all, and he could have run him over.
As Robinson Canó bats with 2 away, and I say the Buster Posey effect, suffered that terrible injury for the Giants, out for the season. And I've seen, I don't know about you guys, but I've seen throughout the course of the year base runners coming into the plate a little more cautious because of all of the discussion that occurred after that Posey ankle injury, and not so many collisions at home plate. Don't know if that's the case with Alex Avila, but he's a catcher himself. He's certainly aware of the Buster Posey play this year, but it could be a big play in this game.
I think what we're saying is that sometimes the decision is taken out of your hands. You have to react to how the play happens. Way out in front of the plate, Avila, look at how he kind of shies away and is going to take a slide to the inside part of the plate. Needs to run him over there. You know it's going to be a tough collision play. You hate to have to do it. Sometimes the decision is taken out of your hands.
1-1 to Canó. That one hit well, deep left field. Going back is Young at the wall. And that ball is up and off the wall. That is in play. Coming in to score is Granderson, as Canó drills one off the wall and left. It's a double and an RBI, and the Yankees have the lead.
What makes Canó so dangerous is that any pitch, any place, he can have power. This ball down and away, a pretty good pitch, has the power to hit it right off the white on top of that fence, and hits in such a way, bounces back into play to Delman Young.
Well, what the umpires have been encouraged to do as Joe went out, they've been encouraged to see if anybody saw it differently. Do they need to take a look at this and get it replayed? But to your point, Ron, it hits on top of the wall and comes backwards, and I think this is going to be ruled a double.
Well, the umpires will gather together. They are on their way. Now remember, the managers cannot request a review. It's the crew chief who makes a decision, and it's Jerry Davis saying, let's go take a look. Why not? Now, before this series began, we had a chance to gather on the field, talk about the ground rules, and what was said is that this is about as cut and dry as it gets among any ballpark in the major league. So it looks like it comes back. If it's not in the stands, it's not a home run.
The real person to look at is the young man in the New York jacket. It would change if it bounced off the wall and scraped and touched him. You don't know that. It looks, though, that it came back into play and did not touch his jacket. Bounces just perfectly to come back into play.
Well, the 6-man umpiring crew, they leave 2 out there, and 4 of them are inside. Now, Jerry Davis will look at this call. He has access to all of the angles we have available, and it is Jerry Davis's call. Now, he can ask the other umpires to look at it, but once Jerry Davis makes his decision whether it is a home run or it stands, then that's a final decision.
And what happens is all the guys, will have a couple guys on the bench go back, look at it, come tell the manager, and you could see Andrew Jones right there telling him, and Joe shook his head as if that ball came back in the
field. But he had to go out there and take a look at it. And the young man that was there, if it had bounced and hit his body, he would have had a reaction. Like he would have grabbed his chest or his chin or something. No reaction, held his hands up, which meant the ball didn't hit him, came back into play. Big break for the Tigers.
Now, one thing we have seen is that the ball is really traveling to left center, and here's a blown up version of that. And your guy Ronnie backs up and
does
no reaction.
Nice job of getting away from it, bounces back into play, avoids it limbo style, and the ball stays in play. You know, we talked a lot about the ability to pitch and not get hurt by Cabrera. By having Canó hit third in the lineup, not fifth like he did in the beginning of the year, he has this, I don't know, cocoon of excellence, this layers of hitmen around Canó so that they ensure that he gets his pitches to hit, and he did it that at bat.
Well, it was Granderson who singled with 2 outs. He scores. He was running on contact, and give him credit, he was running hard. He didn't assume it was going out, even though it had some heat on it. And he scores easily. I'd be shocked if this is overturned. But the umpires are taking a good long look at it. Maybe they'll check the radar, the Doppler, while they're in there, just in case.
This game and this series already has had everything you can have in 2 days, and we're not finished with one.
How about the wherewithal of that Yankee fan and ones around him not to reach over the fence and try to grab that baseball? That is usually a natural reaction of any fan.
I think
just the opposite.
I think they watched the documentary.
Oh, they did. They did.
Yes. That had an effect, right? No Bartman. Jeffrey Mayer would have been leaning out over that for sure. And here come the umpires. And
not exactly the 4 horsemen, but close.
It's like astronauts coming off the space shuttle. Jerry Davis points to second base. And that'll be a double and an RBI for Robinson Canó. So
the crowd was certainly anticipating his finger as he started to go up in the air, but it went straight to second.
So a deke, I guess.
Yeah, nice deke.
Well, it is Canó who gives the Yankees the lead here in the 5th. Umpires will tell you this is one of the best ballparks to make calls like that. There are no bright lights around the fences, as you see in a lot of other places. There are no flower baskets. It's pretty cut and dry, and that one was pretty cut and dry. So it is a break for the Tigers as it hits the top of the wall. And instead of a 2-run homer, it's an RBI double. Now Alex Rodriguez 0 for 2 with an RBI in this game. That one's hitting the air to center field. Going back, Austin Jackson. And he'll have room to make the catch for the out. Side retired. A home run review underway. A 23.5-hour rain delay underway. Game 1. Making some memories here as Canó gives the Yankees the lead. Five in the books, game 1 of this American League Division Series. Tigers-Yankees, and Robinson Canó giving the Yankees the lead, giving Ivan Nova the lead as we go to the 6th. Top of the order for the Tigers. Austin Jackson leads off, then it'll be Ordonez and Delman Young. Well, Ivan Nova has had a great year. We chronicled his wins. He has gotten a lot of run support, but he knows how to pitch with the lead as well. Yankees were 18-4 this year in games in which they staked him to a lead, and his personal record 16-0 when the Yankees staked him to a lead.
Well, because of the weather and the way this series has begun, the managers are going to have a lot of different strategy opportunities, and we're already here in the 6th, Ron. If he can get through the 6th, we know how the Yankees can shorten a game with their great bullpen in 7, 8, 9. It's going to be interesting to see how much he goes with Nova in an untraditional type game.
That's going to be 4 consecutive games because of the suspension last night. That has a lot to do with how both of these managers will play this one. If their starters are going along well and you have an opportunity to save your bullpen a little bit, maybe for the Yankees until the 9th, then you certainly would take that chance tonight as Jackson draws the walk. So A good start for the Tigers as we check in with Matt Weiner in Atlanta. Matt?
All right, Brian, time for a Bank of America game break, and the Tampa Bay Rays are right back in it in Arlington against Koji Uehara. A base on balls, a single, and then Evan Longoria with a 3-run homer. The man who sent the Rays to the postseason on the final day of the regular season has them back within a run on TNT.
Yeah, no lead is safe against the Tampa Bay Rays, and the New York Yankees know what that's all about. 7-0 lead for the Yankees over the Rays. That dramatic final day of the regular season, and the Rays came all the way back down to their last strike of the season, and now they are poised to come back once again. Tigers have
Zobra's better average side to try to keep him in the ballpark.
Well, the ALDS going on in 2 different places tonight in 2 spectacular games. One here in Arlington and one in the Bronx.
21 against right-handed pitching.
22 of the 49 steals for the Tigers. They didn't run much. Matter of fact, Brett Gardner of the Yankees has as many stolen bases as the entire Detroit Tigers. And Jim Leyland, you know, he is an old school American League type guy. He loves that 2-run, 3-run home run, and it's hard to ask Jim Leyland to start running when he has the big bashers behind Austin Jackson. There's Gene Lamont, his third base coach. This would be a good time to do it at 0-2. Nova's been throwing a lot of breaking balls ahead of the count, especially with 2 strikes. And it looks like a curveball is coming here.
Nova has thrown so many pitches in the dirt, John. Sometimes maybe you don't have to steal a base on him. You could advance on a pitch in the dirt.
Good pitch to run on. And he stays put, and it's a breaking ball in the dirt. And it's 1-2 as we check in with Tom Verducci.
Yeah, Austin Jackson, you mentioned 20 steals, 22 attempts. Now, the Tigers believe one day he's going to be a premium base stealer, given his speed. But for now, they do not give him the green light. Interesting, they make sure when he runs, he is running off a sign. Back to you.
All right, Tom, thanks. And we'll see if Jackson is on the move. Jackson takes off, and a shot back up the middle, right on the bag is Canó, and he turns it into a smooth double play, and it's because of the stolen base attempt that the Yankees are able to turn 2. It goes 4-3.
John, sometimes things just go right. Big jump by Jackson, easily would have had the stolen base, but Ordonez swinging on the pitch. A 2-hopper to Canó, and no one's more stylish than Canó, who avoids the slide, and with that good arm completes the double play.
As if he was taking fungos in batting practice. Down the right field line, Swisher lays out and makes the catch. What a play, Nick Swisher. A diving catch to end the inning. Yankees playing a little D in the 6th.
The League Division Series on TBS is brought to you by the new Capital One Cash Card for the people who want 50% more cash, and by Subway. Eat fresh.
Most importantly, no rain falling from those skies up above Yankee Stadium as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Mark Teixeira on the first pitch down the left field line, and that is going to fall fair. Bounces off the wall. Teixeira into second with a double. On the first pitch he sees from Doug Fister, the Yankees back in business in the 6th inning.
Well, the first at bat, he threw him curveball, changeup. I would have to say he was sitting on a fastball. Even though he didn't pull it, he hit it hard in the part of the park where the wind is carrying. A leadoff double for the Yankees.
Yankees took the lead in the 5th on a Canó 2-out double. Off the left center field fence. It missed a home run by inches. And now it's Swisher.
Swisher has had his issues with runners on scoring position. 0 for his last 27. But in this case, in the postseason, he's just trying to get the runner over. So even if he doesn't get a hit, he's going to do his job to get Teixeira to third base.
3 consecutive postseasons for Swisher as a Yankee. His postseason experience also with the Oakland Athletics and 1 year with the Chicago White Sox.
Over this two-day period, Swisher's hit 2 balls to the right side when he didn't want to.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can hit one to the right side or get a base hit when he has to.
2 4-3 ground ball outs for Swisher. The first one against Verlander yesterday. And Pfister got him on a ground out to second in the 4th.
Well, as a pitcher, there's a way to counteract a guy trying to pull the ball. You either try to get him chasing away or throw that curveball down at his foot where all the left-handers are trying to pull and swing over the top, and you can get a strikeout. But his sinker away, which he's tried a couple times, does lend guys to go to the shortstop side.
Leadoff double to Teixeira out at second base.
See that 4-seam grip by Pfister. The ball not buried in his hands, just holding just on the tip of his fingers.
Pfister looking for a strikeout, and Swisher doesn't bite on the high fastball.
John, this is the point in the game where you feel as a starting pitcher, can't give up this run, can't give up any more.
Yeah, you got to, he hasn't given up many crooked numbers, but right here you're trying to do your best to not even allow him to go to third or cross home plate.
And a strike called on the outside corner. Pfister rings up Nick Swisher. And a big out. Swisher barking at Tony Randazzo on his way out.
Well, you look here, it's not perfect pitch tracks, but it's pretty close. And it catches the lower corner. Again, a good sinker away. Great idea by Pfister. Even if he puts this ball in play, I don't think he pulls it.
Swisher might not like it too close to take.
6 strikeouts for Pfister. Jeff Jones on his way out, the Tigers pitching coach.
Jeff Jones replaced Rick Knapp in July.
Well, a meeting at the mound here for the Tigers. And a reminder, you can catch game highlights, interviews, and exclusive post-game analysis from Tom Verducci and the staff of award-winning SI writers at SI.com/MLB. Well, maybe a scouting report with Posada. You do have a base open at first. And Russell Martin coming up next.
Yeah, that wasn't one of those conversations, what do you want to do here? It was basically, here's what we're going to do here, and here's your potential option if we get to this scenario or that scenario.
A conversation that probably started with, okay, Doug, the skipper says. Pfister against Posada, and starts him with an off speed. Looked like a changeup in there for a strike. Pfister has had some big strikeouts with runners in scoring position. Remember, in the second inning, he struck out Jeter and Granderson to end the inning with 2 on. His 6th strikeout gives him a little light at the end of the tunnel. The Yankees are 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position in this game. Canó's double that produced a run came with a runner at first. 2 balls and a strike.
If you're a hitter trying to guess along with Pfister, it's got to be difficult. There's no real patterns. You just saw 3 different pitches in 3 different locations. all trying to play that cat and mouse, feed off the aggressiveness of the hitter, and hopefully just get him out in front enough to hit a weak ground ball to second base.
Down in the dirt. Good play by Avila. That's a big play. Keeps Teixeira at second base with one away. Catchers have done a nice job in this game blocking a number of pitches in the dirt, both Nova and Pfister. Martin will be next. And it looks like Pfister being very careful to Posada. Swinging away, 3-1, and it's a full count. Looks like he chased a Pfister pitch that time, another off speed.
You know, John, that first pitch to Posada was a changeup, which telling you that he wants to get him out with breaking pitches, but he's gotten to 3-2 now. Everything's soft. Could take a chance with a heater in or away.
See the catcher there going through a series of touches with a runner on second base. What those touches are doing is signifying which pitch is the indicator. It's a multiple changing indicator so that the runner at second doesn't give or get locked in on any pitch selection.
Another changeup. Posada contend with a walk. So first and second, the intentional pass to Posada, and Jim Leland sends Gene Lamont to the phone. The bullpen will be active for the Tigers. Well, it's been a fun day of baseball. The Brewers defeating the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Phillies over the Cardinals. Roy Halladay with a win there. And right now on TNT, they're headed to the top of the 8th inning. Tampa Bay is down a run to the Rangers as we play on here on TBS. Big spot for the Tigers. Pfister trying to get through it. The Yankees still looking for their first hit with a runner in scoring position. And it's Russell Martin. Bouncing ball, slow roller. And Peralta's only play is first. Out number 2. The Yankee base runners will advance, so it's second and third. And the 9-hole hitter, Brett Gardner, is coming up.
Tell you why that might be important with the speed of Gardner and a high chopper or any kind of infield hit obviously scores a run. You don't have that force at second. With his speed, it puts a lot of pressure on the infield to make that play without a run scoring.
And Gardner is a guy who will bunt with 2 outs, and because of that, Wilson Betemit is in on the grass at third base. You don't see that very often with 2 outs in an inning, but the bunt is always an option with Brett Gardner at the plate.
Can't get too fastball happy with Gardner, though, because he has some pop. You look at his game, you think of his game as only speed and hitting the ball the other way, but he does have some power to right field.
Strike, top of the zone. Gardner not pleased with that call. Well, for the Yankees, they shorten the game so much. It's Rafael Soriano, who is the 7th inning pitcher now for Joe Girardi, and then Robertson in the 8th, and of course Mariano Rivera in the 9th. And he is set up for that run. And the hill turns into a mountain if the Yankees score here in the 6th inning. And there's a shot, a base hit for Gardner. Teixeira scores. Here comes Posada. He'll score. Brett Gardner with a big hit for the Yankees. A 2-out, 2 RBI single for the 9-hole hitter. And the Yankees have a 4-1 lead in the 6th.
And right here is the only bad curveball he has thrown, right down the middle with 2 outs. one pitch away from keeping his team 1 run down. And really, not many multiple innings where he's given up more than 1 run. Tough time for the Tigers to have that happen here.
First hit of the night for the Yankees with a runner in scoring position, and it's Brett Gardner who delivers 2 big runs with 2 outs. Derek Jeter, strike 1. A 2-out, 2-strike hit for Brett Gardner. RBIs tonight from Gardner, Canó, and Rodriguez yesterday in the first inning. Another one in there.
Well, the Yankees like to run, and I'm sure they'd like to send Gardner, but Mr. Pfister's awfully tough on runners stealing bases.
He changes every approach to the plate. He'll rush it up there. He'll take his time. He's got a good move to first base. And Jeter taking those first 2 pitches to allow Gardner to run, not able to.
And Avila has a cannon behind the plate. One of the best throwers behind the plate in the league. Gardner stays put. Jeter high and tight. Did he go? They'll ask. Checks his swing, says Eric Cooper. And it's a ball and 2 strikes on Jeter. Well, Joe Girardi is stacked up with that great late inning relief. And now a 3-run lead. Gardner takes off, bouncing ball, and that is going to find a hole. Gardner on his way to third. Derek Jeter with a base hit to right, works like a run and hit on the vacated hole from Rayburn as Jeter picks up his first hit of the postseason.
Really surprised here, Ron. They threw him in, and they had the second baseman cover, and that's probably why, because he's so good to right field. Inside out swing allows him to find the hole.
I don't know if I'd ever cover with the second baseman when Jeter's up at the plate. Ever. That's a traditional cover. It's a standard cover. There's nothing traditional or standard about Jeter at all.
Who lives on the opposite field. MVP chance for Curtis Granderson. He certainly has a shot at that award this season. He is in the discussion. Granderson driving at 119 this year. The Tiger bullpen is active. Albuquerque and Koch. Koch is the left-hander, the former Yankee. But Leland sticks with Pfister. Quickly 0-2. The last 2 hitters have been in 2-strike counts, and each with hits. Gardner driving in a pair. Jeter with a 2-out, 2-strike single. And Jeter walks his way to second base. Avila doesn't even bother with a throw. A stolen base for Derek Jeter. So a base hit will bring in 2 more for the Yankees. There's no such thing as a 2-strike approach with Curtis Granderson. 20 of his 41 home runs this year came with 2 strikes. He swings hard no matter what. Two-two. High in the air. The wind pushing it toward the seats and well foul.
If you want to know why the Yankees had the best record in the American League, it's what all they do and the pressure they put on another club. They can run, they can hit with power. They may not have a dominant pitching staff, starting pitching staff. They do all the little things. And when they get a chance to really pour it on and make you pay, there's some of the best teams in baseball right here, the Yankees, and what they do to hurt you when a team opens up a crack, gives you a little room.
the Tigers are so explosive offensively. Fister's got to be thinking to himself, you know, the game scores 4-1. Just getting out here, get the club back in the dugout, and you got some bats in there to come back.
Yeah, the middle of the order is coming up for the Tigers, starting with Miguel Cabrera. As Granderson just gets a piece, he's able to spoil some pretty good pitches from Doug Fister. The home run that Granderson hit off Fister back in July was a breaking ball, a backdoor breaking ball that Granderson lifted to the opposite field. And that's certainly a memory that Fister has. The 2-2. Full count to Granderson.
It's a good move by Alex here, Alex Avila. Coming out, huge moment. He recognizes the moment. Let's get on the same page so we don't have to go through a series of signs. What do you want to throw, big fella? Give it to me.
Yeah, you got to be totally committed. Even though that base is open, you've got to be committed that the pitcher you're going to throw is going to get the hitter out. Get him to chase it and get in the dugout.
A battery together for the first time in the postseason. What does he give him? 3-2. And it's down in the dirt. Granderson draws the walk. And the fire still burning hot for the Yankees. More 2-strike, 2-out success for New York. That is back-to-back hits with a walk. And that is going to do it for Doug Fister. Bases loaded, 2 away. The Yankees have 2 in. And we'll take a break, set up the new hurler when we come back as Leland takes the ball from Fister. Now, tomorrow's schedule is brought to you by the Tomorrow Makers at Transamerica. Coverage begins on TNT at 2:30 p.m. Eastern with MLB on deck. The Tigers and the Yankees, our Game 2 will be on TNT tomorrow at 3 o'clock. It's Scherzer against Garcia. Arizona at Milwaukee. Game 2 of that series, Daniel Hudson against Zach Greinke. And more Cy Young Award winners, St. Louis and Philadelphia. Carpenter against Lee on TBS at 8:30. 3 former Cy Young Award winners on display. TBS TNT tomorrow. That Sunday schedule. What would have been a day off for the American League Division Series continues on for the Tigers and the Yankees as Al Albuquerque, a rookie pitcher, but a right-handed rookie pitcher, to match up against the left-handed Robinson Canó here.
Well, Robinson Canó hits equally left-handers or right-handers. The reason Albuquerque's here is because of his strikeout ratio, averaging almost 14 strikeouts every 9 innings. And the great thing about Albuquerque this season, he's stranded 27 of 30 inherited runners, trying to do it here in the postseason.
It's a huge spot. Yankees looking for a knockout punch as Canó takes a strike.
Well, on the other side, Canó in his last 2 seasons with the bases loaded, 19 for 36 with 5. That's right, 5 grand slams. That's a .528 batting average, not too bad.
And 3 of those grand slams this season. The Yankees overall with 10 grand slams. They ran away with it in the American League. It's Canó into deep right. How far will it fly? Oh, Robinson Canó, a grand slam home run. Right on cue. 8-1 Yankees.
Well, you talked about his slider, and he sat all over this slider. Didn't break down like he wanted it to, and he knew as soon as he pulled the trigger, a slider goes a long ways. And you watch the bench of the Yankees as they celebrate another grand slam. It's been the year of the grand slams for the New York Yankees.
A-Rod takes a strike. Robinson Canó, the home run derby champ this year, does what he does best. His bomb of a home run, had 28 in the regular season and a grand slam that makes it 8-1. And Canó comes out for a curtain call right as that pitch was delivered to Alex Rodriguez, that was a poorly timed curtain call. He should know better.
When you have a team with a Jeter who got his 3,000th hit, the power of Teixeira, the career numbers of Alex Rodriguez, you ask any of the Yankees and they marvel day in and day out on Robinson Cano and what he does at the plate.
This inning, first and second, weak ground ball by the catcher Martin. 0-2 pitch, and you look up later, they've scored 6 runs. What really wasn't a big inning or couldn't have been a big inning on an 0-2 pitch turned into one for the Yankees with 2 outs.
A 2-strike hit, a 2-out 2-strike, 2 RBI single by Gardner. Derek Jeter with 2 strikes singled. Granderson had it into a full count, so it was another 2-strike success for the Yankees with a walk. And Canó does the big damage here in the 6th inning. And Rodriguez sharply to second base. Rayburn. And the nightmare inning ends for the Tigers, but the Yankees with a 6th spot, and it's Robinson Cano. Well, make sure to catch 24/7 Pacquiao Marquez coming only to HBO. Oh, and a big shot. A right cross from the Yankees, or maybe a left cross from Robinson Cano with a grand slam home run in the 6th inning. A 6-run inning for the Yankees. They have scored 7 runs tonight with 2 outs. And all 6 of those runs in the 6th inning coming with 2 outs. Miguel Cabrera leads off. And it's Alex Rodriguez for out number 1. And now for Joe Girardi, you got to be thinking about Nova maybe taking this one the rest of the way, perhaps, if his pitch count is where you want it, looking ahead to the rest of this series, barring no trouble.
I think there's 2 things you want to look at here. Yes, you'd love in a perfect world for Nova to take this as deep as you want, but you also don't want him to get in any kind of trouble where he would lose a little of this great outing that he's had, because if this goes deep, he will get another start. Or not a start, but his first start.
Yeah.
Good point. It is technically a relief appearance here today. Victor Martinez with 1 away. CC Sabathia pitched the first 2 innings last night of this game, suspended, and then picked up in the bottom of the 2nd today. So this is Nova's 5th inning. That was an official rule change after Game 5 of the 2008 World Series between the Rays and the Phillies. Not just postseason games, but play-in games, games 163 in the regular season, have to be brought to a conclusion. Normally, in the regular season, if you start a game and you don't get until the 5th inning or the bottom of the 4th with the home team leading, you would just wipe the game out. It would be postponed. It would be restarted. Managers are allowed to reset their starting lineups, but that's not the way it works in the postseason. And that is why Verlander, Sabathia were starters, while Pfister and Nova were out of the bullpen in relief.
I'm sure before this series started, the Detroit Tigers identified Robinson Cano as someone that they had to get out. In this game with 2 outs, they couldn't retire Granderson. A hit and a walk, both with 2 outs, resulted in the runs and the grand slam by Canó. Robinson Cano can make the game look as easy as anyone in the game.
The other thing he can do is he can make a manager's nightmare on who to bring in. They had a left-hander warming up, and of course they went to the right-hander. A lot of that could be due to the fact that he tears up left-handers as well. And I'm sure there'll be people sitting there going, well, lefty, why don't they bring him in? They went with the swing and miss guy, and unfortunately his slider did not go to the place that he wanted it to.
Well, Jim Leyland rarely gets defensive when you talk about strategy, and what he normally does is go to the statistics, and you guys mentioned the statistics for Canó against left-handed pitching. The big question, though, I think, to bring in a slider pitcher in Albuquerque, which is a breaking ball right into the sweet spot of Robinson Cano, that down and in pitch. As Tony Randazzo wears another one. Boy, the home plate umpire, having to work the plate across 2 days, is going to be looking forward to the outfield assignment tomorrow.
Well, Nova usually beats up on Martin, but Martin has missed a couple of these. They've gotten through. and have caught Randazzo a couple of times.
Man.
I mean, the only equivalent to that in hockey is when the guy stands in front of the goalie, you got no chance to see it's coming. And twice he's been surprised with a ball getting through that time, the 5-hole.
Martinez just got a piece of it, and Martin unable to hang on.
You know, the other way to look at it, guys, you can always go by stats, but Coke would have represented a different look. Albuquerque coming in, throwing breaking balls and sliders is something that Canó has seen all night from Pfister.
Albuquerque, a rookie in his first postseason. Martinez hanging tough. Good at bat here by Victor Martinez. Yankee Stadium not playing typical tonight. The wind that is blowing, and even Canó's home run, that ball looked like it was headed for the upper tank. It still ends up in the second level, but the ball's not traveling that well to right field. It is to left. But you're still sitting there at Yankee Stadium on most nights, 8-1. You've got a long way to go, but with the bullpen that Joe Girardi has put together, you start to get into the late innings. You never know what can happen, but 8-1 seems a lot more significant on a night like this when the temperatures are in the low 50s and right field is not playing so small.
And in that last game against Tampa, he had the opportunity to rest his 3 main guys. That's what happens when you get to clinch and set yourself up for the postseason. They used 12 pitchers that game, but the big 3 did not have to pitch, and they're well rested. And we'll see plenty of them for the Yankees in this best-of-5 series.
A great battle here between Martinez and Nova, the 11th pitch, and that bounces in. And it's 3 balls and 2 strikes, and the home plate umpire Randazzo was bailing on that one, wasn't he?
He said, "Uncle, I've had enough."
I'm out of here. Don't blame him.
No other pitch to throw here, John. 8-1 lead, 3-2 count. Try to throw your sinker away.
Just exactly what Martin puts down. And it's low, and it's a walk, a 1-out walk, a hard-earned bases on balls for Victor Martinez, a base runner for the Tigers with 1 away. The pitch count for Nova is at 66 right now. 4 1/3 innings for Nova. Nova has a couple of strikeouts. That is his 3rd walk. He started this game with the 7 straight retired to begin it from the 2nd inning. Or rather from the 3rd inning, as Avila lifts one in the air to left. Gardner settles under it. And there is out number 2 in a long battle with Martinez. And on the first pitch, Avila flies out to left. Two gone. It'll be Ryan Rayburn for the Tigers. Nova's given up just 2 hits. They came back to back. Rayburn had the first one in the 5th inning. That was the only real scare for Nova so far tonight. Had a walk and then back-to-back hits. The bases, 3 were on. Remember, there was a base hit by Peralta and a play at the plate, gunning down Avila on that base hit. And Nova would pitch out of it. That was in the 5th. A young pitcher who is used to run support from his offense. He's gotten a lot of it this year.
He's taken advantage of it too. He's put a lot of wins on the board this year, and sometimes you get in that slot, Ron, where you're just don't ask questions. Just keep pitching me in that slot.
half swing. They'll ask, and yes, he went. Eric Cooper rings him up at first. Rayburn down on strikes. And after the Yankees score 6 in the bottom of the 6th, Nova puts up a 0. And now we turn it over to the Yankee Stadium presentation of God Bless America. Enjoy.
Your attention, please. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your caps. And please direct your attention now to the microphone behind home plate and welcome back the official vocalist of the West Point Band, United States Army Master Sergeant Mary Kay Messenger. In honor of the servicemen and women stationed around the globe, she will now sing God Bless America.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
A 6-run inning for the Yankees in the bottom of the 6th. They bat around, and an 8-1 lead as we go to the home 7th. Mark Teixeira will lead off for New York. The new pitcher for the Tigers is Ryan Perry.
Ryan Perry up and down this year. First half not so good. Second half all right. He's got to control the walks. Hard thrower with slider.
Al Albuquerque goes a third of an inning, gives up the grand slam home run to Canó. As you see the numbers on Ryan Perry during the regular season for the Tigers. Teixeira in the left, slicing away from Young, and that will end up as a foul ball bouncing into the seats. Teixeira started the 6th inning with a double. The key hit in that 6th inning was Brett Gardner's 2 RBI single. It came on an 0-2 pitch.
And I thought it was interesting, the cat and mouse game between pitcher and hitter. As we said, Teixeira all off speed the first at bat. He came with a fastball, he jumped on it, got a leadoff double to get that inning in a nice fashion.
Teixeira high in the air, a towering fly ball, a Mark Teixeira special, and on another night that might be a Yankee Stadium home run, but it's just an out here tonight. I'm anxious to hear a reaction from the players on the Canó grand slam. You just get a sense the way he hit that ball. He knew he got it well. He knew it was going out. It was just a question of how far it would fly, but to hit it in this kind of breeze and this kind of wind that's coming in from right field, apparently. I've seen a lot of balls go to die out there. Alex Rodriguez hit one to deep center that ended up as an out. Second basemen aren't supposed to hit him that far. But Canó's grand slam gave the Yankees big separation in this game, made it 8-1. And there's a base hit. Nick Swisher singles with one away. And the Yankees with a base runner. Swisher's first hit of the 11 postseason.
I think important hit for Swisher. We were talking about before, Brian struggled in the postseason. But to get back to Canó, Canó has become one of those players that perennially he is in discussion for the MVP, discussion for the batting title, Gold Glove, just an all-around 5-tool player.
Canó with 5 RBIs in this game and came within inches of 2 home runs. Remember, his double and RBI came with 2 outs, and that missed being a home run by just a couple of inches. Bounced off the top corner of the left center field fence, came back into play. It was a ball they actually reviewed to see if it went out. Posada's had a good night. He had a single in the second. He was the first batter when the game resumed play here tonight, and he singled off Doug Fister. He walked and scored in the 6th. An inning that got away from the Tigers, and so close to getting out of the inning with 2 outs. 2-strike success for the Yankees, 3 consecutive hitters in that 6th inning. Now the Tigers were all set up to bring Max Scherzer in what was originally game 3 at home. Now Scherzer is scheduled to pitch tomorrow in game 2, a fly ball pitcher, which is why the Tigers were happy the way it's set up to have him pitch in a pitcher's ballpark at Comerica as Posada strikes out for out number 2. And all that planning and the preparation going in with the Tigers' best pitcher, the most dominant pitcher during the regular season, Verlander, and he's able to go 1 inning, and now that changes everything for Detroit.
He's only going to pitch 1 time in the series. Going back to Scherzer, he's had 1 good outing, 1 bad outing against the Yankees this year. The bad outing here when he gave up 4 home runs, and the good outing in Detroit, to make your point, when he threw 8 shutout innings.
And because the travel day, the off day, which was supposed to be tomorrow, is lost, and you're looking at a run of 4 consecutive games. Now that happens all the time during the regular season. 4 consecutive games is nothing, but when you're talking about the postseason and you're dealing with very stressful pitching, it's an 8-1 game. So both managers with decisions here about what to do with their bullpen the rest of the way.
Well, the Yankees have the big luxury, obviously. No one's warming up, and Nova can eat up some innings and set it up for a 2 out of 3 series for the Yankees if they hang on and win this game.
Big cut by Martin. Ball and 2 strikes on the Yankee catcher.
You know, that being said, if Detroit, when they start to look ahead till tomorrow, are looking at a 35-year-old pitcher in Garcia, doesn't have the stuff that he once had, of course, and that offense surely is going to try to wake up against Freddie.
And if the Yankees close it out here, and with an 8-1 lead, they're in a good position to do that. Now all of a sudden you're looking at the Tigers in a game 2 scenario with CC Sabathia on the other side in game 3 in Detroit. So a lot of importance to try to win on the road, which is what the Tigers were able to do at 06. They were able to win that second game in New York, and the series never went back to New York after that. They won the second game of that series in 06. They won the 2 home games in Detroit, and of course went on to the World Series. That was Jim Leyland's first year as the skipper in Detroit.
There's not going to be any panic from Jim Leyland. There won't be any panic from his team. If they get even, they go back home with their best pitcher on the mound.
Well, one of the things they were trying so hard down the stretch is they were trying to get that home field advantage.
Yeah.
It was nip and tuck with Texas. They knew they wanted to get home field advantage, but when they didn't, they know they got to win a game here. It's just that simple. And tomorrow, if they don't come back and miraculously come back, tomorrow's their day to win, and it sets it up for what they want to do. Every team that starts on the road, you're looking for a split.
And they're going to have to get that win without Verlander on the mound after his one inning yesterday.
I guess it says a lot about the Yankee offense, at least in this evening's ball game. The depth of their lineup, John, and the ability. If you looked at the game that Doug Fister had, he had his best stuff. He made a couple of mistakes, and it cost him.
Well, as I said earlier, they're just relentless in so many ways with the speed on the bases, the power in their lineup. They do all the right things. They know when to hit to the hole, get the runner over.
There's a swing and a miss. Martin is down on strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts for Perry. 7 in the books. We go to the 8th from Yankee Stadium, 8-1 New York. The bullpen spotlight is brought to you by the Nissan Versa sedan. Innovation upsized, innovation for all. And John, we're looking at a reliever here tonight. Ivan Nova, 5 innings of scoreless baseball out of the bullpen for the New York Yankees.
Yeah,
tonight.
you look at those numbers. Obviously, he doesn't really play into those numbers. That's the big three that have those numbers. And Robinson, Soriano, and Rivera.
CC Sabathia started, play suspended yesterday. Resumed tonight, and there you see Nova. 5 innings, just 2 hits. Those hits came back to back in the 5th inning. Ryan Rayburn, who leads off this 8th, had one of those 2 hits. His 2 singles, all that Nova has given up in this game. I beg your pardon, Peralta leading off. And a strike called on the corner. Nova dialed in as he strikes out Johnny Peralta for the first out.
Just a perfect little slider there, John. And when we talk about young pitchers, a lot of the discussion, especially when they're rookies, is their innings for the year. If you combine his minor league innings, Nova working into his 187th inning for the year and at the top of his game.
Well, for some clubs, he'd be shut down.
That's right.
Which I don't understand, but we don't need to get into that.
A shutdown, but for Joe Girardi and his team, he might play such an important role as they try to get deep into these playoffs. Already has played a big role.
Now Nova, go back to June 3rd in the regular season. He was 4-4 with a 4.5 ERA in his rookie season, going along okay. Spent the good part of the month of July in the minor leagues when Phil Hughes came back, and that was the rotation spot. As Betemit flies out to Granderson for out number 2. Ivan Nova, 16 consecutive starts to close the season without a loss, a 12-0 record during that stretch. His last loss on June 3rd, that 12-0 record to go along with a 3.25 earned run average. And a star was born, a supernova born here in New York. Joe Girardi told him when he went out he didn't deserve to go back to the minor leagues, but it was a numbers situation. Hughes is coming back. He's going to get a chance to pitch in the rotation and make it such that I don't ever want to send you back out again. Make the decision more difficult. Boy, did he ever take his manager's advice. And now Nova trying to post 6 scoreless innings in relief. And he gets Austin Jackson a strikeout. How about that inning for Ivan Nova? Still 8-1 Yankees. The big inning for the Yankees, a 6-run 6th, and it's 8-1 New York as we head to the bottom of the 8th. And we invite you to catch all the action of the 2011 Major League Baseball Division Series on TBS. Join the postseason debate at MLBFanCave.com and follow the action on Twitter with the hashtag postseason. Legends are born in October. It's the hashtag, Smolty.
Whatever you say.
It's going to be Daniel Schlereth out of the Tiger bullpen. Ryan Perry a scoreless inning with a couple of Ks. And now the left-hander Schlereth to match up against Brett Gardner, who had the big hit in the 6th inning, a 2 RBI single with 2 outs. Gave the Yankees a 4-1 lead.
Well, just that 0-2 pitch from Fister, a little curveball that he hung in the middle of the plate. John, you mentioned it. The only curveball he missed with in tonight's game.
Yeah, you're going to look at those results and you're going to think, oh, they beat him up. And it's really unfortunate because he really pitched good, got out of some jams, made some crisp pitches. And the Yankees, what they do best is if you give them a mistake, they make you pay more than most teams.
Now the Yankees were 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position at that point. Before Gardner's big hit. Schlereth deals him a strike.
You know, rarely do you see 3 teams benefit in a trade like these 3 teams. The 2 teams here, and then of course Arizona, all in the playoffs, all dealing with multiple players and benefiting each team in a way that you say that's a successful trade for all parties.
That was prior to the 2010 season, a 3-team, 7-player deal. The Yankees got Granderson. The Tigers got Austin Jackson and Phil Koch. Max Scherzer and Daniel Schlereth came to Detroit from Arizona, and then the Diamondbacks got their Game 1 starter in the postseason today, Ian Kennedy, and Edwin Jackson, who is now pitching for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Kennedy with 21 wins this season. Breakout year.
Took a loss today to Giovanni Gallardo and the Brewers.
Schlereth was the #1 pick of the Diamondbacks as Granderson. 41 home runs, tremendous year. Schlereth has everything you need to be a successful reliever here. Just has to find his control. 31 walks in 49 innings pitched.
He'll top her over to Cabrera, and Schlereth hustling, knowing who's running, and he beats Gardner to the bag. So 1 gone. Well, today is the 50th anniversary of a milestone in baseball. Home run number 61 for Roger Maris came on this date off Tracy Stallard of the Boston Red Sox, October 1st, 1961. It broke Babe Ruth's single-season record of 60 home runs, which was set in 1927, and a record that stood for 37 years. Interesting, the Yankees won that game 1-0 in a stadium that was about half full that day at Yankee Stadium. And that record stood until 1998 when Mark McGwire hit 70 home runs. They honored the Maris family in the final home game of the regular season here at Yankee Stadium. They painted number 61 on the grass between the dugout and the base lines, and it was a nice moment here 50 years ago today. Speaking of milestones and great moments, Derek Jeter with his 3,000th hit.
Really?
Did you not hear that? He is in the 3,000 hit club.
You got it this year?
That happened this year, John. And it came on a home run and a 5-for-5 day for Derek Jeter.
Game-winning hit.
Oh man, I did see that.
Just in case you doubt, John, let's give you the visuals of that. This was July 9th, and against David Price of the Rays. He knew it the second he hit it. And in dramatic fashion, the home run, it was a perfect setting for Jeter because he hits the home run, he gets to enjoy the curtain call. They took a little time to honor him, and
that's kind of a bad break, really. You get a hit, and you can get that ball back a lot easier than when you hit a home run.
Jeter with a base hit sneaks it under the glove of Betemit on the dive. And Derek Jeter with 2 hits in this game 1 of the ALDS.
So you're recommending underachieving?
Yeah,
in
he's
that
got to be
moment.
smarter than that. I mean, you know, Derek Jeter does a lot of great things, but I'm sure that had to cost him a few different artifacts.
Well, he was able to get the ball back because he's Derek Jeter.
Were we sure, because the ball was documented by MLB, were they using different baseballs?
So always a good question. With 1 away. So you think back to that 6th inning, Gardner certainly had a big hit that opened it up, but remember Jeter had a 2-out, 2-strike hit as well. Gardner took off, that opened the hole at second base, and Ron, you discussed the move there with the second baseman covering the bag. Jeter hit a little ground ball that right to the vacated spot by Rayburn. So a lot of 2-out damage and 2-strike damage for the Yankees, and Jeter, as he usually is, was a big part of it.
I think anytime you get an opportunity to hold your position on the right side of the diamond against Jeter, I think that's a smart move.
Well, I often said facing the Yankees, especially here at home, is like pitching in Colorado. It's hard to get 3 outs. You hold your breath a lot, and certainly got to take advantage of the opportunities when they do give you 3 outs. But
well, we're watching the young Schlereth, no postseason experience. Jim Leland throwing him out there to get him, you know, try to get him through this inning. He's going to need him maybe later in this series. And just a little overthrowing, which is only natural for a young guy.
Granderson with a hit and 2 walks tonight. He scored twice. 1 for 2, on base 3 times. And a big swing and a miss. Took a mighty rip on a 3-1 pitch. It's going to be interesting to see how the MVP voting turns out. And will Justin Verlander end up with the most valuable player? It's been a hot topic all across Major League Baseball the last couple of weeks of the season. Verlander with 24 wins as Granderson foul tips one into the mid of Avila for a strikeout. I don't even dare ask 2 pitchers sitting next to me. Can a pitcher win an MVP in your mind? Are you okay with that?
I don't think so. I really don't. I think the Cy Young and everything that he's done, and so many great players that play every day, contribute to their team a little bit more often than a starting pitcher. As much as I'd like to root for the starting pitchers, I just don't see it happening in the way the voting is set up.
You can make a strong case for Robinson Canó as well. Canó getting a huge ovation. He has driven in 5 of the 8 runs here tonight, and none bigger than the swat in the 6th inning, a grand slam home run for Canó.
We talked about the sliders that he likes to throw, and that one didn't slide. Anyone who's ever thrown a slider knows that if you throw it bad, the spin's perfect for lift and separate.
Hits that one hard to center field. Austin Jackson going back, and he cannot make the play. Jeter running with 2 away. He'll score as Robinson Canó is having a great night in game 1. How about 6 runs batted in, 2 doubles and a grand slam, and it's 9-1 Yankees.
Well, a little slider in the middle of the plate. And the thing about Canó, it doesn't matter if it's a right-handed slider or a left-handed slider. He hits the ball so hard, and this is right over the head of Austin Jackson and beats him to the spot.
What a night for Robinson Canó. 8 total bases and 6 RBIs tonight. The record for RBIs in a game in a division series game is Edgar Martinez. He had 7. There's actually a few guys on that list. Mo Vaughn, John Valentin, and Troy O'Leary. So he has one off the DS record for RBIs in a game.
You know, you were talking, Brian, about the MVP, and certainly Verlander will get some votes, but versus the AL top 10 in wins, those are the pitchers. Ellsbury 347 with 5 home runs. Canó second, 289, 4 home runs. I know it's not a traditional statistic that's out there, but those are the top 10 pitchers in the wins category, and that's the damage those guys have done. Pretty impressive.
At their best, against the best. That's when you know you got a real player.
Canó setting a Yankees division series record with 6 runs batted in. 9-1 New York. 2 gone in the inning with Alex Rodriguez at the plate. Well, we turn our attention toward Ivan Nova. Will he be allowed to finish this game? No activity in the Yankee bullpen. He's pitching so well. Coming off a 3-up, 3-down inning in the 8th. Wouldn't that be something? Almost in reverse. Sabathia for 2, Nova for 7 possibly to finish this game. That will certainly take us to the record books as well. Longest outing in relief. There's some numbers on there. Nova would be close to that. Nine different pitchers with 7 innings of relief. Most recently, it was Rick Rhoden back in 1977. That was against the Yankees.
Rhoden with the Dodgers then?
That's right. The Los Angeles Dodgers in '77. I was in the World Series. With 7 innings against the Yankees, just 1 run. And it might be a Yankee who puts his name on that list. Eight and a third is the record for innings in a postseason game in relief. Jesse Barnes, also against the Yankees. In 1921, he was pitching for the Giants at the time, the New York Giants.
That was an exciting game.
Yeah, you remember that one?
I do. I do. That was exciting.
You've done your homework then.
I had to stay up late for that.
The Jesse Barnes discussion as Schlereth strikes out Alex Rodriguez. And the side is retired, and the Yankees are 3 outs away from sealing up a Game 1 victory in the ALDS. Tomorrow, a full slate of games of MLB postseason. Coverage begins on TNT at 2:30 p.m. Eastern with MLB On Deck, presented by Chrysler. Game 2 of our series, Detroit and New York. Freddie Garcia, Max Scherzer, and then it's Arizona, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Philadelphia. Followed by Inside MLB, presented by Captain Morgan.
Arizona, Milwaukee, with Greinke coming back on 3 days rest. He pitched that final game to secure home field. 11-0 at home.
Ivan Nova, the story here now is the Yankees enjoying a 9-1 lead. This is best case scenario for Joe Girardi. Nova a chance to finish this one out. CC Sabathia went the first 2. Ivan Nova 6 innings in relief. Most in the postseason recently. And he can put his name in a large group with 7 postseason relief innings, which you couldn't imagine a scenario that it would happen in this day and age in baseball, but only the unusual circumstances of the suspended game yesterday. There's Maglio Ordonez. He is out number 1 for Ivan Nova.
Well, I know it's not going to count, but Nova has not pitched a game in the 9th inning where he's completed in his major league career. He will not get credit for a complete game here, but it'll feel nice.
Maybe a GF.
Game finished.
There you go.
I know there are a lot of general managers in the minor leagues. They have a piggyback scenario where they'll have a couple of starters. One starter will pitch the first few innings. They'll have another starter finish the game because the pitch counts are such a big part of minor league baseball. But it's for that reason, to give them a taste of the 8th and the 9th inning and finishing a game. Delmon Young with the only stake for the Detroit Tigers. It was a home run yesterday against Sabathia. This is going to be a 3-hitter at this point. Nova's just given up 2 singles and the Young home run. And a shot right off of Nova, and this will go as a base hit. Hit him on the backside, and Delmon Young with his 2nd hit of the ball game. And immediately Joe Girardi springs out of the Yankees dugout, and Nova says, "I'm all right."
He's laughing too, so no harm, no foul, I think, for Nova as he relates where that ball hit him.
Hit him in a good spot. Sometimes a poor follow-through pays off. It's all right. Good thing it didn't hit him in the elbow, though.
That's right.
Just managed to get out of the way.
Maybe sitting down tomorrow might be a little sore, but that's where you want to get hit.
So it's a base hit for Delmon Young, and that's the first hit for the Tigers since the 5th inning. In tight on Cabrera.
When you look at, if you probably look at all of the pitch charts and where the baseballs ended up, you would think this guy was all over the place. But he was just wild enough today and made just enough good pitches with counts at 2-2, 3-2 to really keep the Tigers off balance.
And he does something unusual that you see from young pitchers, is that inability to harness that slider where he throws a perfect one time and time again. So he throws a lot of backup sliders. He throws sliders that bounce in the dirt, some that end up and into the right-handed hitter. So really, these veteran Tiger hitters are having trouble really gauging that break from Nova because it's different every single time.
Safe to assume Mariano Rivera is just getting some work in the bullpen. Can't imagine a scenario that he would come in as long as the lead holds up like this.
Well, he hasn't thrown since last Tuesday, and with the game maybe important. Ayala, of course, Luis Ayala up just in case Nova gets in any trouble. But you want to get loose, get yourself ready if something crazy happens later, or really for tomorrow's ball game.
Baseball got loose on the field. Nova kind of stretching out a little bit. That ball that hit him on the backside from Delmon Young. He's a double play away from wrapping this one up. And a 1-2 to Cabrera in the air to right, slicing foul and out of play. Miguel Cabrera with big power to right. It's interesting that Nova, all the superlatives that you can say about Ivan Nova, he has not given up a home run with a man on base this season. Not one. The home runs that he has allowed have been solo home runs. He's thinking about 2 to finish it up. The 1-2, and that one's in the dirt. Now if Nova finishes, Joe Girardi will have a fresh and ready bullpen tomorrow. He's got Freddie Garcia as his game 2 starter. And all of his weapons will be rested and ready. Freddie Garcia, what a great year he had for the Yankees. An unexpected year for New York. He and Bartolo Colon piecing together that starting rotation. Got to give a lot of credit to Larry Rothschild, the Yankees pitching coach. 3-2. Count stays at 3-2.
Yeah, he definitely has not gotten enough credit over the year. When you look at the beginning of their rotation from spring training, the traditional Yankees would get him so far, then they'd go make a move for a pitcher or two. They didn't make the moves. They stuck with their rotation. Their offense has been outstanding. But Larry Rothschild has done a monumental job when you think about the guys that came back to pitch for the Yankees this year.
As Nova walks Miguel Cabrera. And it's first and second. Nova's pitch count at 96. And decision time for Joe Girardi.
One more batter.
One more batter, he says. A reminder, stay tuned for Inside MLB presented by Captain Morgan. Matt Weiner, Cal Ripken, Dennis Eckersley, and David Wells will bring you highlights of today's game. A lot of baseball today. Post-game analysis from this one as well. Full slate of games, 2 in the AL, 2 in the NL. So 2 on. And it's Victor Martinez.
You know, John, you were talking about Larry Rothschild, and I think he can do it all. He has the ability to stay out of the way of a superstar pitcher like Sabathia, teach a young pitcher like Nova some new pitches, and then also be able to work with older pitchers who might not have the stuff they had when they first came into the major leagues, but give them a plan to get hitters out. He's done that all season long.
There's a strike. Rothschild, very successful pitching coach. He's also a guy who managed in the major leagues. So Girardi has a couple of guys on his coaching staff with managerial experience. Tony Pena and Larry Rothschild. Rothschild managed the Tampa Bay then Devil Rays.
Rothschild was a pitching coach at the Chicago Cubs when the catcher was Joe Girardi.
That's right. Martin's had a nice game behind the plate blocking balls. And he's had a lot of them to block. He and Tony Randazzo have blocked a lot, the home plate umpire. Martinez at the plate, not running well. He fouled a pitch off his foot in the final game, and any ground ball is going to be a chance at a double play without much stress for the Yankees, as that one misses away, and it's 3-1, and this Yankee Stadium crowd is eager to wrap this one up. That was pitch number 100 for Nova.
Safe to say this might be his last hitter, and if it is, I think the crowd that's left here will really let Nova know what kind of job they thought he did today.
And a base hit to right. Delvin Young will not bother to try to score. Down 9-1, so the bases are loaded, and that's probably going to do it as Girardi pops out of the dugout. And listen to this hand that this Yankee Stadium crowd will give their rookie pitcher in his first postseason start. First postseason appearance, I beg your pardon. A Saturday night winding down here at Yankee Stadium, 9-1. The Yankees have the lead over the Tigers. And don't forget, tomorrow we are on TNT for Game 2. Freddie Garcia for the Yankees, Max Scherzer for the Detroit Tigers. And you see the numbers in the regular season for those two. The Tigers would have preferred to have Scherzer pitch at home, a fly ball pitcher, but he'll get the Game 2 start at Yankee Stadium tomorrow against Garcia. Well, Ivan Nova goes 6 1/3 in relief tonight. What a performance in his first postseason game. Unable to close it out. An infield hit, a walk, and a clean single has the bases loaded. All of those runners belong to Nova, with Alex Avila at the plate facing Luis Ayala out of Joe Girardi's bullpen.
8-year veteran Ayala, first game in the postseason. You see he had a fine year with that fine ERA, 2.09.
The Tigers with 5 hits, 2 of them coming in this 9th inning. The home run by Delman Young in the first inning yesterday, and 4 singles. There's a strike, 2-1. Well, Jim Leyland was able to get to the finish line in this game without having to use some of his winning relievers that pitch in tied or winning games. Ryan Perry and Daniel Schlereth able to finish it out. So 2 fresh bullpens for tomorrow, most likely, barring unexpected drama here in the 9th. 3-1 to Avila. That one's in there. Broken bat. Derek Jeter to second, and that'll do it. Now check it. The second out. No chance to turn 2. I beg your pardon. So a run will score. And 9-2. Delman Young comes in. There'll be an RBI for Avila. And it's first and third with 2 away now.
So you want to be a weatherman, huh? They've been opposite in the last 2 days.
Thank goodness for tonight.
Yeah.
Predicted rain all night. Hasn't rained a drop since this game began. Tigers batting practice was cut short due to rain. They put the tarp down, but no rain at all once we started. Ryan Rayburn, the last hope, and it's a ball and 2 strikes, and the Tigers are down to their last strike, and they come to their feet at Yankee Stadium. Crowd of 50,940, largest paid attendance in current stadium history, regular season or postseason. On the ground, that's a base hit. Gets through the hole, another run is in. And the game continues. 2 runs in for the Tigers. It is 9-3 New York. Those runs belong to Ivan Nova, as Ayala is having a tough time getting the final out.
Well, he just pulls it in the hole. Same sinker he's been trying to get him to do exactly that, but he pulled it between the shortstop and third baseman. Sneaky fast short arm sinker from Ayala.
And a broken bat. The bat is fair, the ball is foul. Well, that went a long way, that broken bat from Peralta. Now Mariano Rivera with a little more purpose. Well, a long ball here from Johnny Peralta makes it a situation for Joe Girardi and an opportunity to maybe use Mariano Rivera. Peralta certainly has the power. He's 3 for 4 this year against Ayala.
I think that's got to be one of the hardest things to do, isn't it? You're out in that bullpen, you got Nova cruising. Sometimes mentally you kind of shut down. Youngsters got it from here, and you never know here in the stadium.
Well, the incredible thing about Rivera is it doesn't take him long to get ready for anything, and he's so cool under the situation.
Off the handle, and that one is going to fall, a base hit. So the Tigers doing some damage here in the 9th inning. Bases loaded once again. Joe Girardi on his way out. Well, Mariano Rivera is going to get a shot. Joe Girardi has seen enough. We'll take a break. Ayala is out. Mariano Rivera coming in. Well, it is not a save situation, but Joe Girardi is going to bring on Mariano Rivera to try to close this one out. 9-3 New York, September 19th. History made here at Yankee Stadium against the Twins. Mariano Rivera collecting his 602nd career save, passing Trevor Hoffman as MLB's all-time save leader. Struck out Chris Parmelee to become part of history. Great moment at Yankee Stadium. Stood alone as the crowd congratulated him. 602 saves.
Golly, the Yankees had a lot going on this year, Brian.
A lot going on.
You like this move, John?
It's a little early, but you know, I mean, I can understand it. You try to not get him in if you can help it.
Well, he pours in a strike on Wilson Betemit, who did not start this game but is batting for the 3rd time. In the last game of the regular season, the Yankees let a 7-run lead get away. Joe Girardi taking no chances with that here in game 1.
But they never went to Rivera in that game.
No, not available that night.
That's right.
Much to the chagrin of Boston Red Sox fans. 0-2 the count. A strikeout for Rivera. Then the Yankees protect their home turf. They win game 1. Terrific effort by Ivan Nova. He gets the win, and the Yankees 9-3 over the Detroit Tigers in game 1 of the ALDS.
Well, I think the real story of this game, other than the pitching of Nova, has to be Robinson Canó. What a historic game. 6 RBI in this game. A couple of doubles, a grand slam home run, and just almost all the offense for the Yankees this evening, John.
Well, two out RBIs are huge at any point in a baseball game, and they certainly got their slew of 2-out RBIs. Again, an inning that was not much, that turned into a big inning for the Yankees. Detroit will come back and battle in the next game, but it really wasn't. The score wasn't as you would think, because that 0-2 pitch to Gardner set up for a big inning.
You know, though, nice finish there by the Tigers, putting some pressure offensively, getting some hits, knocking in some runs, maybe a residual effect for tomorrow afternoon's game.
And forcing Girardi to go to Rivera. Remember, they're going to be 4 consecutive games here. As the, if necessary, if it gets to a game 4, no days off. So Rivera takes just 3 pitches to finish this one off. As we kick it down to Tom Verducci. Tom?
Thanks. I'm with Robinson Canó. Robinson, it took 2 nights, but you beat the Tigers in a game originally started by their ace, Justin Verlander. How important is that in a 5-game series to take game number 1?
I mean, I always say things happen for a reason. I mean, we couldn't play last night, but we played today, and we ended up winning the game.
Now, you carved out a place for yourself in Yankees history, tying a franchise postseason record with 6 RBIs, along with Bobby Richardson, Bernie Williams, and Hideki Matsui. How about that record?
I mean, it's good. It's good to be with those names out there, and but the good thing is we win the game. So all that matters right now is keep winning and keep playing hard.
Take me back to the 6th inning. The Tigers made a pitching change with you two to bat with the bases loaded. Were you surprised to see a right-handed pitcher come into the game in that situation?
Well, I mean, I thought they were going to be a lefty, but I mean, they're being a righty, and I wasn't looking for a home run. I'm just looking for a pitch that I can make a good contact and at least get one RBI. Everything is ended up in a grand slam.
Now, recently, you've been put into the number 3 spot in the lineup behind Curtis Granderson, in front of Alex Rodriguez. It looks like you're very comfortable in that spot.
Well, I mean, they put you third, so you want to do your job there, so you don't want to let your manager down and the coaches and the whole team. But good thing that I did my job today, and hopefully continue doing it.
Now, the rookie, Ivan Nova, hasn't lost a game since June the 3rd. He's a rookie, but how much confidence did you have in him handling this situation in a postseason environment tonight?
Well, after he came back from AAA, I mean, he's been good. He's been throwing his pitcher for a strike and not hesitating, and he seems like he belongs here. So it's good to see him bounce back and getting his first win in the postseason.
And from the rookie tonight to the veteran tomorrow, Freddie Garcia takes the ball. You have a chance to put Detroit on the brink of elimination with a win tomorrow. What do you expect from Freddie Garcia in Game 2?
I mean, we don't know what kind of pitcher he is, and you know, hopefully he come tomorrow and do what he's do the whole season.
Robinson, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to you.
All right, Tom, thanks. Thanks to Robinson Canó, the home run derby champ this year. It's a big home run tonight, a grand slam, 6 RBIs, 8 total bases for Robinson Canó. He goes 3 for 5. And the Yankees with a 9-3 win as Ivan Nova wins it for New York over Doug Fister. Our final score, Yankees 9, Tigers 3. And now be sure to tune in tomorrow for our Game 2 on TNT. It's a full slate of postseason games. Coverage begins at 2:30 p.m. Eastern with MLB On Deck presented by Chrysler. For Ron Darling, John Smoltz, Tom Verducci, and the rest of our great crew, I'm Brian Anderson saying good night from New York. TBS is your exclusive home for the entire division series of the National League Championship Series. After the break, stay tuned for Inside MLB presented by Captain Morgan. Remember to drink responsibly. So long, everyone.
The League Division Series on TBS is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. By Verizon, America's largest and most reliable wireless network. And by nutritious and delicious avocados from Mexico.
Hey everybody, welcome into our TBS postseason headquarters. Matt Weiner along with Cal Ripken Jr., David Wells, and Dennis Eckersley. Inside MLB, presented by Captain Morgan, is on the way. Prince Fielder, Ryan Howard, Robinson Canó all went deep in big spots here on day 2 of the postseason, and the Rangers reversed the road trend. That's all ahead here on the program. And don't forget Sunday, it's a triple header here starting with Game 2 of the Tigers and Yankees from the Bronx on TNT. Then Game 2 of the Diamondbacks Brewers series at 5 Eastern time on TBS, followed up by the Cards and Phillies. We're back from Atlanta with Inside right after this.
Yankees overall with 10 grand slams. They ran away with it in the American League. It's Canó into deep right. How far will it fly? Oh, Robinson Canó, a grand slam home run.
The first postseason grand slam for the Yankees since Ricky Leday in 1999. The big blow and a 9-3 win over the Tigers. Here's Detroit manager Jim Leyland live from the Bronx.
Better of the rain delay coming into today.
No, I don't really think about stuff like that. You know, it's this is just a series where you're going to pitch your guys. Like I said last night, it was probably unfortunate for the national audience that they missed that matchup, but it looks like they'll probably get to see it again. No, I didn't really think of that. I thought Fister would be a good pitcher for us tonight, and I think he was. like I said, I thought he really made one bad pitch, and that was to Gardner that he got the base hit on.
Okay, we'll let you go. Thank you, Jim.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, it just.
Jim Leland in the aftermath of Game 1, finally concluded in the Bronx tonight between the Tigers and Yankees. The 50th postseason in Yankees history got off to a little bit of a wet start last night. They only got through an inning and a half before the deluge arrived and postponed this game for about